years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back. You already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
You already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show. Make sure to clock in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody pulling up. We got a great show lined up. You know, hey, man, it's an off-season edition show, you know, so we got a few things to talk about. Obviously, recently, Geno Smith was officially introduced as a Raiders quarterback. Pete Carroll in the building, Spy Tech. They were all there to, pretty much show out the new quarterback, man, the new quarterback of the Raiders. We'll talk about that. Obviously, our flags on the play, notable quotables, all that good stuff. Hey, we're going live on both our channels. Another friendly reminder. I got to keep reminding y'all because I'll be forgetting, man. Make sure to hit that like button. Clock in, as we like to say on this channel. Clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hey, man, salute to the night crew in the building. We see y'all pulling up. Space B says, hey, so 8:30, 8:35. Hey, man, you know the routine, man. At this point, you already know what it is. He says, well done, Raider Ray. Shout out to Raider Ray in the building. He says, salute. He says, PharoahNFL and the Sultan of Severe. Oh, man. Spacey says, Space be Severe, the Prince of Putdowns. Okay. All right, man. They ready to go, man.
That was nice. Nicely done.
John Leon in the building says, salute Nation. Kevin Lurker pulls up, says, Raider Nation, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. P&W Mark Raiders in the building, man. He says, hi, all Raiders. Yaya Hatamaki. My guy, man, he says, salute Severe, Pharaoh, and chat, man. Appreciate you coming through. Yeah. Yes. Can I be a mod? I don't know, man. We gotta see you put in some work, man. You gotta be here consistently, man. But hey, it's a possibility though. It's a possibility. Yeah. I mean, unless is this one of your guys, Severe? Basketball coach?
I don't know that.
Yeah, we don't be handing out the mod wrenches, but we appreciate the support. So like, hey man, if we see you in the chat consistently, like you'll definitely be one of the people that we would consider to be a mod in the channel. PNW Mark Raider says, one of our mods says, Raiders, clock in and subscribe and hit the bell for the great shows to come, man. Hey, my God, man, support it, man. Joe Lee in the building says, yee. What Space B says, what's that B at the end? Sounds like Magic Mike. I don't know about that. I can't find that song name.
What? Which beat on the intros? Or are you talking about the little cut in?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would be Magic Mike. We ain't got no Magic Mike over here. I don't know what's going on. I'll be honest with you. Oh man, that was hilarious, bro. Moon over Miami in the building, man. My guy, appreciate you pulling up, man. One of the craziest. I'm still trying to figure out, man, that tarantula. Man, that's it looked like a tarantula. It doesn't look, it looks like a spider. Yeah, man. My guy in the building, man. New England Raider Boosters, man. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to head over his channel, man. Subscribe to my guy, man. He's doing his thing on Raider YouTube. Definitely head over and salute. So appreciate him coming through. Raiders Food Chris says, yo, the Mock King. Hey man, people pulling up, man, showing love, man. Hey man, appreciate everybody pulling up.
My guy, hey, my guy, Raiders for Chris, he got a channel too, man. So y'all go over there, show him some love too.
Oh yeah, definitely, most definitely. Hey, all our Raider content creators, man, make sure to support them, subscribe if you haven't, to get that real Raider news, man. We can't watch that ESPN and that, they're just gonna give you generic Raider stuff, man. Insight. It's just like sometimes they'll give you some good stuff, some nuggets, but man, sometimes they'll just give you some stuff like, what are you talking about? Like you are not paying attention to any of the Raider moves. You're just making a general statement. Exactly. Moon over Miami says jumping spider. Okay. Jumping spider.
That sounds like sound like some scary. It sounds like some Australian stuff. LS, what you know about jumping spiders?
Is that what you got? You got like a jumping spider? That's wild, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We got to get into that right away. Yeah, you're right, man. Right away. You said Jack Jones gone. We gonna get into that for sure. That was a surprise. I didn't see that coming, honestly, based off what the Raiders situation at corner is. We were like, we were. It's funny, even with Jack Jones on the roster, we were projecting the Raiders to get a corner. Now that they lost him, I think we can safely say that we need a corner or two at least. Feels like at least two. New England Raider Bruce. Hey, y'all all good, man. All good.
My dog Jeff.
LS in the building, man. Appreciate you coming through. And we got everybody pulling up today, man. Let's not waste any time, man. Let's just get into it. Obviously, Raider Way kind of like, brought it up, and we were going to talk about it too as well. Is that over the weekend, Jack Jones was pretty much released. They were looking to trade him, it felt like, I don't know if that was the plan. It just felt kind of random. But yeah, Raiders were looking to trade him, and then they eventually just released him. And now the Raiders are one less cornerback. I mean, they literally lost. Now they really need a cornerback after losing Jack Jones. I can understand, like, a lot of people pointed to how Jack Jones is really not a fit to what Pete Carroll wants at cornerback, like as far as like, having really long corners and, the size and everything. I think Jack Jones, he has the height wise, he's there, but like he doesn't have his the long arms that he looks for at corner that he wants to put in the outside. He possibly could have moved them inside, but I'm not sure if Jack Jones would have wanted that. He probably feels like he's more of an outside corner. So maybe there might have been a disagreement there, but we one of our notable quotables early in the offseason with Pete Carroll being hired as a head coach was Jack Jones on, I think it was the NFL Network. Yeah. And how excited he was to play for Pete Carroll. Like, it just seemed like everything was all good and he was buying into the new regime, and I don't know what happened, but obviously they went their separate ways. So, but what was your take, man, on the news, man, when you first heard it?
Yeah, man, I was surprised just because, like you said, man, the timing didn't really add up. It came like we didn't hear any rumblings of this beforehand, as you already spoke about. Like Jack Jones was just on NFL Network, like singing the praises of Pete Carroll. We talked about the guy. We had a few quotes from the Seattle beat writer. But one thing he said during that show was he talked about how Pete Carroll would take guys that would play well at corner for Pete Carroll. They would leave Pete Carroll and not play well, and then guys that wouldn't play well necessarily elsewhere would come to the Seahawks, and they would play well under Pete Carroll. So the thought was, one was hoping, hey, you know what? This is a perfect reclamation project for Pete Carroll, right? Like a kind of a misunderstood guy, a little bit of a loose cannon. This is the perfect kind of dude for Pete Carroll to kind of work his magic on, right? Like, get this guy, back motivated and confident and feeling good and ready to run through a wall for him, right? Like you would think that all the talent is there. It's at a position of need, at a position that has historically succeeded under Pete Carroll. Why would this be another time for it to work again? And then he just gets cut out of nowhere. That's why I think it has to be something else, bro. It had to be something else, because if not, I think this is a mistake by Spytech. Now, not even necessarily that Jack Jones is irreplaceable, but you take a position group that's already weak, you make it weaker, and then if anything, could you possibly be showing your hand with what you're going to be targeted in the draft? So I just think it was a mistake to do it, if for nothing else, the timing.
Yeah. Something must have happened behind the scenes, because, like I said, it just feels like it was super last minute. Like it wasn't planned. Like it's not like we heard rumors about Jack Jones being traded earlier in the offseason. It was like we found out the news, on Sunday or Saturday? Yeah. Literally same day released him. Like the Raiders are looking to trade Jack Jones, but if they don't find a trade suitor, they're going to release him. And literally the same day they released him. But man, I think this probably all but guarantee that the Raiders have to go. They have to go defense early. Like they're going to have to get
early. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure right now the smoke right now is Jeanty. Everybody has. From the Mel Kipers, he put out his final mock draft. From all these other, national, writers, sports writers putting out mock drafts saying that, the Raiders are going to Jeanty at 6. But it's just hard. Like we lose, like at least four starters on defense. Now, like what, 5? At least 5 starters on defense with Jack Jones. I know Pete's confident that he can coach up that side of the football. He could probably get someone in the later rounds but this is they're gonna have to prioritize defense with that early pick. They have to, whether it's I can see, Will Johnson at 6. Is that gonna be the guy, or are they gonna trade? I know they're gonna want to trade down. Maybe someone wants to pick the next. I don't even understand this comparison, but they compared Jeanty to LaDainian Tomlinson, which I don't even see. Yeah. But he is like a top, running back coming out in this draft. Maybe they're just trying to create a lot of buzz for that pick for someone to trade up. But yeah, the Raiders, I feel like they're going to go defense early, in my opinion. This just guarantees it, to be honest with you. But what's your take on that? I mean, the other side to it, the other argument is like, you got to get a weapon for Geno. Yeah. You just brought him in. You want him to be successful. That contract pretty much is a 3-year deal. But I think the first 2 years of his contract are guaranteed. So technically the Raiders can get out of that contract by 2026. And if that's the case, that's the guy that you're going to be invested in early. You're going to want to get him a weapon. That's the argument. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I still don't think we're completely locked in on any one position, but we definitely have to take a look at corner now. Like we definitely have to take a look at corner. Like you cannot roll into the season with Eric Stokes or DeCamian Richardson, as your other outside starting corner, right? I don't even need to speak about MJ Devonshire or Sam Wade. Like these are not guys who I would expect to be NFL caliber starting players. So
Right.
You have to look at corner early. But as you said, right, you just spent a bunch of money and a valuable pick investing into Geno Smith. So you want to maximize the return on investment out of the player that you just invested those resources into. So the best way to do that is to give him some weapons. So it could really go either way. But the corner position is extremely thin for this team right now. It is extremely thin. So
just look at the defense. Max Crosby.
Yeah.
You got Max Crosby, Kuntz.
Yeah.
You obviously have an inside guy that's good. Defensive tackle. Christian Wilkins. But outside of that, it's a lot of unproven starters. I mean, Jacorian Bennett did play solid early on last year, but you're betting on him to come back and repeating that performance and building off that. Man, it's tough. You got DeCamian Richardson. Are you penciling him as a starter? And that's the previous regime. This is another. You don't know how they feel about DeCamian Richardson. Maybe they like him. Maybe they don't. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. I don't know how. And I don't know, mate. This kind of, to me, in my opinion, this makes it seem like this season is gonna be a rebuilding year. I don't know how they're gonna win. Or I don't know how they're going to win, like, a lot of football games this year. I know they brought in Geno, but that defense is going to be tough, bro. Like, that secondary?
Yeah. You think about Jacorian Bennett hasn't finished the year in either of his 2 seasons, right? So he started, he's supposed to be a starter his rookie year. He got benched because he struggled, and then he came back and he got hurt. Was the starter his second year and played well, then got hurt. So, like how much can you really depend on Jacorian Bennett? So you still need insurance against the Jacorian Bennett injury. On top of that, you need a starter opposite Jacorian Bennett. Then you need depth behind both of those guys. So we're in a deep hole when it comes to corner. But I mean the hope is that we're able to generate a lot of pressure up front. We're hoping that Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Adam Butler, and Malcolm Kuntz, that they're able to kind of wreak havoc, and quarterbacks have 2 seconds or less to throw the ball. And we're able to kind of make some plays in the secondary because, we're able to jump some routes, play zone coverage and let those guys just, wreak havoc in the backfield. And, we catch the quarterback slipping. Because other than that, like, we really don't have any, like Superman coverage corners that I think are going to be able to hold up week in and week out. Jacorian Bennett's already proven he's kind of injury prone. DeCamian Richardson, I don't know if he really has a frame for that. I don't think he has the hip mobility for that either, to be honest with you. So it's a struggle right now at corner. Like, Will Johnson to me is the obvious best corner in this draft. And if he runs well on the 14th, when he works out, if he runs like 4 or 5, I think it's going to be. I think he's going to solidify himself as the number 1 corner in this class. And then at that point, we still have a conversation about him at 6.
Well, if they're gonna build this defense through their front 4 and pressuring the quarterback and getting after quarterback, I'm not mad at that. But if they're trying to compete next season, then they're probably gonna have to double down and maybe add in a guy to that defensive line. You know what I mean? If a Mason Graham is available at number 6. Maybe you take him there. Yeah. Maybe you trade down and you probably grab. That gives you a little bit more leeway to maybe grab someone in the front 4. I mean, I know you like Tyleik Williams in the second. we'll see how it shakes out. But it has you wondering how the draft is gonna go. Like, I be honest with you, the best case scenario is the Raiders trading down. That's the best case scenario. Like,
but at that point, you gotta hope a team wants to. You gotta hope somebody's on the board valuable enough for a team to want to move up for. And then if a team behind you and the Raiders have so many holes that if a team behind you is willing to move up for that player, then it's like, well, damn, the Raiders got so many holes. Like, why aren't you taking this? Like, why are you taking this dude? So it's just one of those situations where it's a balancing act. If they can find a sweet spot in the trade back, like in anywhere between 7 and 12, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of, hey, you know what? You can see how the board plays out. You pick up some extra assets in the middle of the draft. That's where that's where all the money's going to be made. The middle of this draft is going to be chock full of legitimate starters, like high level starters, especially at running back. And there's even a few corners that might be available, in those middle rounds where you like, okay, this guy has the measurable, maybe he's lacking some discipline, or maybe he's not, the biggest guy, or so like it maybe there's something there, but there's a lot of potential. And I think that's why you want to have, in this draft, you want the little picks. That's why it was kind of a steep price to give up for Geno Smith, but it was kind of a price we had to pay for not going to the season with Aiden O'Connell or Carter Bradley as our potential starter.
Right. Right away says Pete said Jack Jones was an outside corner outside the building, man.
Shots fired.
Hey, man. But it's the truth, though. At this point, like, he is outside the building, and he wasn't claimed through waivers, so teams are they're feeling like, he has a lot to prove. But, LS says, I think it's a mind game move we want teams to think we want Will Johnson. It's possible, but if you're being honest, just look at the team and the talent that we have. It's a lot of question marks. So is it a mind game move, or is it more like, they just want their guys in the building and they're taking a long-term approach to building the team, which I have no problem with. It's just the fact that they kind of came in saying that they're going to want to, SpyTech says they want to build the right way, but, a guy like Pete's like saying like, oh, we're coming here, we're going to try to win. We're wanting to win now. This is, the classic Raiders always trying to reload but not rebuild. Maybe they're trying to rebuild, which I don't have a problem with. It looks like it. Not going to lie. They got a lot of holes, and they can't go into the draft thinking about trying to fill all their holes. Pause. But
yeah, man,
they gotta go to the draft like thinking about like getting the best players on the team at the end of the day. Like, exactly. They gotta go into it because this seems like they're not gonna be able to get every player that they want to.
No, without a doubt.
It's like linebacker, corner. You can make an argument for safety on defense. That third pass rusher, a run stuff and D tackle. And that's just defense. You can go to offensive line, a game breaker on offense. We really don't have a game breaker on offense. Brock Bowers is a great tight end, but I'm talking about like you give him the ball and that's why people like Jeanty. That's why, because they feel like if you add Jeanty to your offense, it gives you a game breaking player.
Yeah,
it's just running back is a little luxury pick at 6.
Exactly. And then it's like, as you said though, like, we need guard help. We got to hope that DJ Glaze kind of stays on the same trajectory. We need running backs, probably multiple running backs. We need receivers, probably multiple receivers. We see you want a guy that's gonna compete with Aiden O'Connell as backup. If Aiden O'Connell ends up being the guy to win that backup job, power to him. Right, but you still want a guy that's in there that's going to push him and force him to compete. So, I don't see Carter Bradley being that dude. So, there is a lot of different. I'm trying to figure out a non-pause worthy way to say, There's a lot of things this team needs.
First of all,
let's say it like that. Let's say it's a lot of things this team needs, right? You know, we need like right now we have a potential of Ramel Keaton or Trey Tucker being our starting outside receiver, right? Like the thought of that is disastrous. You're right.
Yeah.
So you need a wide out for sure, but you also need a running back, you know, because like you don't want to go into the year with Zamir White and Raheem Mostert, you know, as your potential starter. So it's so many different ways that this draft can go that we just kind of have to be smart.
Jonathan Studio says Jack Jones gave up 698 yards, 9 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 108.9 on 88 targets as the nearest defender. Not really a hard choice. I get it, but when you're in the position of the Raiders that doesn't have a lot of depth at a certain position, especially with a lot of experience, because if you think about it, like that puts Jacorian Bennett would probably be the most experienced corner on the roster. Maybe Darnell Holmes at nickel corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Between him and Jacorian Bennett, but it's just, you know, now you make a position that was a need even a bigger need.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe Jack Jones had a tough year. Hey, look, he could have had a down year. He was on a contract that was. It wasn't like he was getting paid like a whole lot of money. He was still on his rookie deal, and wasn't he like a 4th round pick for the Patriots? So he was on a reasonable deal. 3rd or 4th round pick?
I think a 3rd. They're a 3rd or 4th. Yeah.
And I bring up the Patriots because that was the team that drafted him, and the Raiders picked him up off of waivers, I believe. So they picked up his rookie deal contract. So it's not like he was getting paid a whole lot of money. So I just felt like it was kind of a low risk, high reward move if you think about just keeping Jack Jones. If they really wanted to get rid of him, they have him compete. And if he didn't play well or they felt like he wasn't a guy that they want on the team by training camp, they could have went in different directions. But like I said, it could have been a situation that something happened behind the scenes where, maybe Jack Jones made it clear that, he wanted to go a different direction because maybe the Raiders had a different plan for him that he didn't want. But, Jonathan, you make a good point, but now corner is a really big need for the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly.
J-Dog says, be ready to not even get Jeanty because he's going to be gone.
I'll be fine with that.
Before 6?
I'll be all right with that. I'll be all right with that.
That would be surprising.
Yeah, that's me. That means a player we actually should be drafting is more likely to fall to us. So I'm good. Hey, who gonna jump up and take him? If there's a team in front of us dumb enough to do that, look.
With the Jaguars? But the Jaguars already have
possibly. They got Bigsby. They got Etienne. He kind of fell off a little bit. So if they want to take him, hey, go ahead. By all means.
Yeah.
If the Patriots want to do it with Ramondre Stevenson, with all means. Like if the Giants want to do it, y'all just got hella production out of a guy that we talked about last year.
The Browns.
Yeah. If the Browns want to do it, okay. You guys still don't got a quarterback, but you wanted to take a running back. Okay. You had for a guy that was considered the best running back in the league for a few years, and Nick Chubb, and you guys,
the Browns, if you think about it, like I want to say it makes sense taking Jeanty at number 2, just the value to running back and that depth at running back in this draft. But the quarterback situation is a question mark, and whoever they have back there is going to be like, if they draft a guy or if it's a guy that they signed, they're not going to rely on him to lead the team. But if you get a Jeanty, they already have a solid defense. You can see where I'm going with this. They're going to run the football and then, take the pressure off the quarterback. But, man, if Jeanty goes early. But look, I've said this. I'm telling you, bro, something crazy is going to happen in the draft. Something that we didn't foresee happening. And if that happens,
let them draft Jeanty. Let somebody draft Jeanty. I mean, that heightens the ability. That means there's more of a chance that Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter falls to us. If one of those guys fall to us, you got the option to either take a blue chip prospect or trade back for a haul and still get a very good player in the first round, plus multiple good players in the middle rounds. There's not much difference between like the difference between Ashton, Jeanty, and Travion Henderson is not that great at all.
LS says I fall to my knees at Walmart if we take Jeanty at 6 and we don't even have Walmart.
Bro.
If
we take, like I said, if we draft Jeanty, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be like pissed. I'm not gonna be like Leatherwood, right? Like Leatherwood, I was like pissed throwing stuff.
Yeah.
If we draft Jeanty, I'll be disappointed because I think like we didn't maximize the value at that pick. But it's not like he's a bum. It's just that I just think we just wasted value. Where there's guys where we can get similar production out of much later. And we can really like take a blue chip prospect in the first round at a different position and still recoup some value at running back in the deepest running back draft of all time. Like the deepest running back draft of all time. Like it just,
Yeah. Hey man, that's why we're here to have this conversation, man. Because look, I'm not gonna be surprised. I'm not gonna be that fan that's gonna be surprised about what happens next season. If I get surprised next season, it's gonna be more of like, oh, Raiders actually a really good team where they make the playoffs. I'm not gonna set myself up for failure. Even though I'll say this, maybe this is a good segue. I kind of like, I was watching that Geno Smith presser the other day, and I like Geno.
Yeah.
He said all the right things. Obviously, he's being introduced but you could tell, like why this guy was able to turn around his career, man. He has like that quiet confidence, strong belief in himself and his skill set. Obviously, Pete Carroll, they believe in him. I like the move, but it's just that it's right now. I think this is more of a 2-year deal. I think if the Raiders make all the right moves this offseason and in the draft, they're still like another offseason away as far as competing. I'd like just look at the defense. How are we? Come on, man. Hey, if Patrick Graham figures out a way to make this team or this man, give him a head coaching job. Give this man a head coaching job, man. I'm serious, bro. Like, just
our linebacker. We even talk about linebacker, bro.
Linebacker.
Talk about linebacker, bro. We didn't even talk about linebacker.
And we're not saying that Landon Roberts is not going to work out. It's just like it's a question mark. It's more of like we hope that it works out, but at best he's a 2-down player. That's what he's shown most of his career. But does Patrick Graham did what he did with Spillane and make him, viable as a pass coverage linebacker as well? Because he's obviously going to start. They're like penciling him to start right now, as of right now. And then Devin White, they gave him 1 year, $1 million. He might not make the team. It's possible he doesn't. So we don't know. So linebacker is another position. We'll see what the Raiders do in the draft, but. Man, it's crazy. But yeah, man, let's get back to the Geno presser, man. What were your thoughts on, you heard about from Geno? I thought it was interesting, though. I'll say this before I give it to you, man, is the fact that he brought up Tom Brady.
Yeah.
When he brought up, he was bringing up Tom Brady, and you could see the impact of having Brady in the building. And this is what I was like, and I said it last week, I'm buying in. I like what the Raiders are doing this offseason. I know they just what they're trying to do. They're trying to build everything the right way, and sometimes when you go that route, you're gonna have to make tough calls. And some of the tough calls is you're not gonna overpay for players, and that caused them to lose a few players on defense. And if they're gonna try to rebuild this the right way, I have no problem with that. It's just all about expectations. I felt like they kind of came into the offseason kind of saying that they wanted to, win now, and maybe that's probably what they told Mark Davis. But behind the scenes, it was like, yeah, we're gonna have to, make some tough calls. Yeah. But yeah, I like the fact that when he mentioned Tom Brady and how he was able to go to his house in Florida and pick his brain and you notice immediately what makes he's like you notice immediately what makes this guy great. You know, he takes everything serious. But yeah, it feels like Geno was the right move. Like the way I look at Geno, I'm not looking at Geno as like the next coming of Rich Gannon. If that happens, that's cool. You know, obviously, you know, Rich Gannon was an MVP for the Raiders. But if he can be an Alex Smith, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And the contract, we didn't overpay for Geno. It's a great contract. They didn't overpay for him. They're literally paying, you know, below average starter money for above average quarterback. That's how as of late, that's how he's been playing. Above average, top 15 quarterback. Some people might be like, nah, he's average. I know some people might argue, but I think if you put the right pieces around him, if the Raiders are able to, you know, put a solid offense around him, which, you know, that's the hope with Chip Kelly. I think the Raiders made the right move in getting Geno, and I like the move. It's just gonna take. I don't think it's gonna guarantee them to be successful next season as far as like getting to the playoffs. If that's the hope for Raider Nation, if you feel like the Raiders are gonna go to the playoffs next season, I don't see it. I don't see it as of right now. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Yeah, man, I like the Geno press conference. You know, I think he was confident. He had command. You know, he was poised, he was articulate. You know, and he was very, very, very sure of himself. You know, and that's you know, he looked like a guy that has the ability to lead a team. You know, that would have the ability to command the respect of everybody in the locker room. And in terms of Tom Brady, yeah, I think Tom Brady, you know, like I've said it for the longest time, I think adding Tom Brady into this organization, I think that was a smart move. And whether or not you want him making decisions, I think that, you know, that's altogether. I think that's a separate thing, right? Like, do you want him to be like the final say on all these decisions? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But definitely you want his input. Like you for sure want his input. You know, you want him to be part of the process, and you want to take advantage of the clout and the respect and the, you know, the brand that he has in the NFL. It's synonymous with winning. And anytime you can get a quarterback, you know, in the same room with Tom Brady, I think that's a benefit. Whether that be Aiden O'Connell, whether that be Carter Bradley, or whether that be Geno Smith, I think, you know, like you can learn something from a guy that did it at a very high level for an extremely long time. So, no, but yeah, man, Geno, man, you know, he's not a guy that's. I don't think he's going to transform your team into a Super Bowl contender, but he's a guy that's going to. He raises the floor of your team, right? The ceiling probably ain't Super Bowl, but he raises the floor of your teams. I think he's going to play well enough, and you know, he won. I think he won. Did he win double digits? No, he didn't win double digits games every year. But I think over the past 3 years, he's won 27 games. So like he's had success on some Seattle teams where, you know, the offensive line didn't play well, the running game didn't play well, but through all of that, he was still able to produce at a high level. So I think he may be in a similar situation here. I think our offensive line is going to be better, but we don't know yet what our run game is going to look like. So he already has experience, you know, having to play from the pocket, you know, with pressure in his face immediately, having to deal with, you know, like only 6-7 guys in the box because, you know, you can't run these guys out of too high. So you're facing these shell coverages every single time. Like he's used to having to deal with that because he just dealt with it in Seattle. So I think he's going to be successful here.
Yeah, no, I hope so too, man. I'm hoping for the best with Geno. Shout out to Raider Smoke with the super chat. My guy, man, always supporting the show, man. Says, fellas, what do you guys think of the pressure? Yeah, we were talking about it, man. Appreciate you sending this in. I just seen this. He says, I thought he killed it a lot. Yeah, he did. He did, man. Quiet confidence. You tell, like, really confident, believes in himself. Like, you know, like you said, Severe, I could see him being automatically. The quarterback positions automatically, they put him in that leadership role. But if I didn't know that he was a quarterback and I heard him talk and the way he was presenting himself, and you could tell he would be a leader in that locker room. We had a notable quotable a few weeks ago. We had DK Metcalf, talking about Geno Smith and how like this is even before Geno was the starting quarterback. How he leaned on Geno was always taking him, pulling him to the side, trying to help him out. So he had a really good relationship with Geno, and then obviously eventually became the starting quarterback for Seahawks when they traded Russell Wilson. But you can see this guy is like, no matter what, he is who he is, and he's not shy about it. And I have a lot of respect for a guy like Geno. But look, like I said, my expectation for Geno is Alex Smith. Alex Smith, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I think Alex Smith, solid hold down the fort. I don't think he's the answer, the franchise guy, but if he can hold down the fort until we get the young guy, then I'm all for it. But we'll see, man. Anything's possible. I'm not going to come here and say like, oh man, Geno is the next coming of Rich Gannon, journeyman quarterback. Rich Gannon was 32 when he came to the Raiders, and then he eventually became MVP. And
Well, he's 32. I thought he was older than that.
Was he 30? Was 34?
I thought he was
same age.
I thought he was older than that. Yeah, I think he's older than that. He might have been like 35. I think he's pretty old. He was pretty old when he got here. He's pretty old, but yeah.
Now
like
he got here what?
34.
Like he got here what? 98, 99?
99, 2000. 99, 2000. 99. Oh, nah. 99, 2000. 99, 2000.
I was watching something the other day. I did not know, and I don't know. Gruden said this. He said they drafted when Rich Gannon. They wanted Rich Gannon to play corner.
Yeah. The Eagles, I want to say. The Eagles drafted him to play corner. And he said, F y'all, I'm not playing corner. Yeah, I want to say it was the Eagles. Because when Rich Gannon, what school did he go to? Was it Delaware?
Delaware.
Yeah, when he was at Delaware, bro, he was a super athlete. He was like hella athletic. Like super athletic. And they tried to make him play corner. The Eagles. And I think he told them no.
Yeah. And then, obviously he went to the Vikings. I think he went. He played for the. Did he play for the Chiefs? I think he played for the Chiefs. Played for the Chiefs as well. And then he got his opportunity to start.
They chose Elvis Gerback over it. I think it's Elvis Gerback. They chose Elvis Gerback over Rich Gannon.
I'm glad they did. But he was able to come to Raiders and obviously, eventually become an MVP. But that's hard to predict, man. That's kind of an exception to the rule. Usually you don't see those type of things happening. I mean, the Raiders have kind of a couple of examples. You got an MVP winner and a Super Bowl winner in Jim Plunkett, who was a journeyman quarterback when he came to the Raiders. I think he was a former, was it the Patriots that drafted him number one, or was it the 49ers?
Yeah. Patriots.
Yeah, it was one or the other. But I think he played for the 49ers as well. I think Jim Plunkett played for the 49ers.
I think he did.
Yeah, but he was a journeyman quarterback. Technically, he played for other teams before he came to the Raiders, and eventually became a Super Bowl winner. So, hey, anything is possible. It's been done before, but I'm just gonna say, like, hey, if he can just hold down the fort, be a solid QB, which he's shown to be. Hey, look, and Pete Carroll and the way he envisions the quarterback position is, you got to build around the quarterback. You can't just expect him to carry the team. There's only maybe 2 or 3 guys in the NFL that can be able to like elevate and make everybody better, despite having, like, for example, the Bengals, for example, they didn't address the offensive line for years. I mean, it helps that you have like 2 like Pro Bowlers. 2
dynamic weapons, yeah.
Yeah, it helps. I'm not gonna lie, that does help. And then you also had like Tyler Boyd in the slot, who's one of the better slots in the league. I get it. But typically, if you're not protecting the QB, you're not able to get the ball to those receivers. But they're able to make it work with the with having that type of quarterback. But look, we'll see how it shakes out, man. Hey, he does say, let's get T-Mac. I don't know, man.
T-Mac is a dog, man. T-Mac is a dog.
I like T-Mac, but man, we can go a lot of different directions. I'm BPA. Whoever's BPA at the moment, that's where the Raiders, like, it's easy to say that now, but when you have as much needs as the Raiders, they can go T-Mac, they can go trade down, maybe get a Will Johnson or the kid out of Texas corner,
Jay Brown.
Jay Brown, Barron. I believe
That's Barron. It's Barron.
Barron, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they can go a lot of different directions, or even if they like another receiver at that spot, not at 6, but like they trade down. There's a lot of different possibilities, but
it's a possibility.
We'll see, man. But like, man, the Raiders, it's gonna be interesting off season. My guy Smoke says, man, appreciate it, my guy. He says, support my guys 50-50, like and sub, and don't be a scrub. Oh man.
Facts.
Man, we got to give a round of applause, man, for that, man.
My guy, Raider Smoke, fresh off the links. Fresh off the links out there, getting his Tiger Woods on.
Man, I seen it, man, with the cigars too, man, with the AP cigars, man,
hey.
AP edition.
Hey, man, he out there big balling with his homies.
There you go, man. There you go, man. Hey, SoCal South wants to remind you to clock in, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit that notification bell. Man, my guy East Coast Gridiron in the building. Appreciate you coming through. We got everybody pulling up today. Let's see. Torque says if they want to go Shedeur, so be it. It is what it is. I would hate because we have so many holes and there's league talents. I can see Shedeur being there at 6, but I don't know if the Raiders would be interested.
Yeah.
But I would say this: if Shedeur is there in a latter part of the first round, or even after the first round is available in the second round, I think the Raiders should go pick. That's a pick. They got to run to the podium.
Yeah.
Shedeur, and then also Amari and Hampton. If he's there, like in the second, you trade up. Come on, we got it. That's an easy one right there. Let's see here. We got everybody pulling up, man. They got conversations. But okay, let's see. Jeanty would get blown up in the NFL. Oh, and that is a question mark. Will he be able to break tackles like he was breaking tackles in college?
Yeah.
Jolie makes a good point, man. That's what I'm saying. Our safeties aren't really cover guys.
Yeah.
So they're kind of similar. Big safeties, kind of versatile. They're kind of versatile. You can move them around and stuff like that. But they probably need to add another guy there that can be able to maybe complement them, be that cover guy, that ball hawk. But that goes back to what I said, man. A lot of needs, man. A lot of needs.
Too many needs. Like you said, the whole Jeanty thing. His level of competition is some cause for concern. He had 2 games against, I think, Power 5 schools this past year. He had the first game of the year was against Oregon, I believe. I believe it was the first game, maybe the second game. But he played extremely well that game. But that was on fresh legs. And then later in the year, he played Penn State, and he had his, basically his worst game of the year. I think he had multiple fumbles, no touchdowns, average, 3 yards a carry. So it's like those are your 2 examples. So do we get the Oregon Ashton Jeanty, or do we get the Penn State Ashton Jeanty? So that's the word, especially when you're a guy that, as we said, he breaks a lot of tackles, and and not like the NFL guys are the best tacklers either, but It's even worse in college. When you're in the MAC, you're not in a Power 5 or a Power 4 conference now. It's levels to it. So does that translate? We talk about guys that are putting up incredible numbers. Remember, people don't remember. Speaking of, they compare him to. I think somebody compared him to Marshall Faulk. Another San Diego State legend, Pumphrey. Right, that guy put up crazy numbers at San Diego State. Got to the league, and it's just not the same. Now, obviously, Jeanty is more talented than that guy, but that's my point. Is that it doesn't always translate 100%.
Right, yeah, man. There are risk factors, and if you're gonna pick a guy at number 6, you gotta look at it from all different perspectives. So the Raiders are gonna have to do their due diligence, and if they feel like, man, that's the best player that they want to pick at that point, it'd be interesting, it'd be crazy, it'd be a Raider move for sure. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Spytek pulls the trigger. It doesn't feel like he would pull the trigger. I mean, he made that comment when his son said, "Hey, you got to draft Jeanty." I thought that was real telling. When he's like, "Man, this is not fantasy football. Like, we're not drafting guys for touchdowns. Like, you know that I think that's really telling as far as how he views it." And look, we talked about it before. Spytek is a guy that drafted a Bucky Irvin in the 5th round, or is it the 4th round? You know, of last year. So I
think it was 5th. I think it was 5th, right?
4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
Either
he was top 10 in rushing, wasn't he?
Exactly. So he knows that he can get a capable starter at running back later in the draft. Now you combine that with the depth at running back. He's like, oh, is it no-brainer decision, man? We can go a whole different direction. But yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Better Smoke says, with the right coaches in place, talent around him, sky's the limit. Look at what Purdy did under Shanahan's system. Yeah.
Yeah. But you gotta have it. That's the thing, though. That's why I was saying, like, if you're trying to win with Geno, you got to invest in everything around Geno. Because, I say, I think if you take out Purdy in that Super Bowl, they lost to the Chiefs, and you put in Geno Smith, I think Geno Smith wins. I think Geno Smith wins that. I think Geno Smith wins both of those games, right? Whether you take out Jimmy G and put in Geno Smith, I think he wins both of those games. I think this Geno Smith last year, I think he wins with the Eagles too. But those are teams that were uber talented. They had talent at every single position. This Raiders team, obviously, we have a dearth of talent. Outside of defensive line, like, there's not a single position group on this team, that's really that good, not one. We have individual players that are pretty good. Like, we got a good left tackle. We have an awesome tight end, but, we can't say we have a great tight end group, because as much as I like Michael Mayer, like, he hasn't done enough in the league yet. So it's still potential right there. So there's not a single unit on this team we can say, outside of the defensive line, we can say that's good. So we got a lot of work to do.
A whole lot of work, man. But yeah, man, let's actually move it along, man. Let's move it along, man. The chat is going crazy. I'm trying to keep up. Who compared Shador? Someone compared Shador to Willie Beeman. That's crazy.
I think V Beasley or V Beasley.
Beasley said Shador equals Willie Beeman.
Yeah.
Man, that song is
didn't Willie Beeman's teammates hate him, let him get sacked in the rain? Did y'all remember that?
Yeah. Because he let the attention and the buzz
get to his head.
Get to his head. Willie Beeman. I just remember that song, that Willie Beeman song.
Willie Beeman. I keep that.
Man, hey man, that dude Jamie Foxx, man, he's wild, man.
That's one of my favorites.
Any given Sunday, man. If y'all don't get the reference, like, comment, sub, and don't be a scrub. Hey man, that might be the new slogan. That might be the new slogan. That might be a T-shirt right there, man. Like, comment, sub, and don't be a scrub, man. Hey man, that's some real stuff right there, man.
Nah, true words have never been smoking.
Geno been to the playoffs. Shador has it. Yeah. I mean, but we still got to get a young guy in there. It's just, it's crazy how, like, last season, I said this before. I was like, man, the whole expectation was the Raiders to get a young guy in the draft.
Yeah.
I know they picked up Minshew, and I'm like, oh yeah, Minshew ain't gonna change nothing. And they didn't end up not getting a quarterback. Now this draft, I'm like, I mean, they don't have to get a young guy this year, just based off, because there's gonna be so many, like, man, like we said, linebacker, corner, run stuff and D tackle, wide receiver. We talk about weapons, a offensive line. Maybe add a guy in there, to add some more competition, because no one, I don't think anybody's excited to see Alex Kappa starting at left guard.
Spytek happy in the mud.
Yeah. Well, Spytek was like, because the expectation is JPJ starting at center, and Spytek was like, one of the guys that, Tristan Wirfs kind of like talked about and helped him with his development was Alex Kappa. I think he played for the Bucks at the time. And probably that was the time maybe Alex Kappa played well, or at least played it. But last year he was terrible. But we'll see. But they look, hey, you hear from Spytek. Spytek is penciling him as a starter. JPJ is probably going to be the starting center.
No, Geno Smith was being interviewed, and he was like, him and JPJ they've already linked up. They already hung out.
Yeah.
They worked out together, so, JPJ smart, bro. JPJ smart. JPJ is like, he like that dude, like, like when you play a receiver, you always want to be cool with the quarterback. Hey, quarterback gonna look for you. If y'all tight, oh, man, he gonna look for you. He gonna give you some targets. So JPJ already making sure he playing a political game, but he putting the work in too. So he's playing both sides of the fence. So man, that dude is very smart.
Was Spencer Rattler any good last year? Because I truly don't understand why New Orleans wants to draft a Q with the rest of the team sucking.
He had flashes, but he struggled though. He had flashes, but he struggled.
Yeah, they drafted him in the 5th round, so it's like they're not really tied in. They're not really like super invested in a Spencer Rattler. They can afford it if they feel like there's a talented quarterback at pick number 9, or where are the Saints picking number 10?
9. I think it's 9. 9.
Is it 9? Okay, so if they're picking at 9, like, and let's say Shador is there, they might take him. Or even if Shador's dropping, they might trade up and get him. But I know that they've been talking to Jalen Milroe. Milroe got invited to the to draft night as one of the guys. Yeah. So I'm like, which means like there's a good chance he's gonna be drafted in the 1st round.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's kind of crazy because I ain't gonna lie, like that's a little too much, a little too high for him to get drafted. In my opinion.
Yeah, man. I just got first of all for Spencer Rattler. Like he flashed, he flashed a lot in camp. A lot of people were impressed with him. By the time he actually really had the opportunity to get some run, the team was decimated. Both of their top receivers were gone. Most of the offensive line was gone. I think Taysom Hill was out. Like he went out there with basically no team, and he didn't look the best. But it was also not necessarily previous front office regime, but that was previous coaching staff that drafted Spencer Rattler, right? Now they got the kid from the Cowboys. I forget his name.
I can see that happening, but man, like for Milroe to really accept that invitation from the NFL to come to draft night, he must really feel good about his odds to get drafted in the 1st round.
Some of these guys are just overconfident. But teams always telling you stuff. Like, yo, man, if you there. Who said it? I forgot. Somebody said like a team told them like straight up, yo, no, if you're there at this pick, we definitely going to we're definitely. And then that pick came up. He was still there. And they didn't take him. I just get this vision of like Jalen Milroe in this like shiny ass suit, like sitting there. It's like janitor sweeping the floor. Like he's like sitting there. It's like, it's like dog. Like I hope he don't get done like that because he's a good dude. He's a good dude. So I hope he don't get done like that. But I just get that image. Yeah. It's like his dude just sitting there by himself, like the last episode of Will Smith moment.
Comes into the house with empty and just looking a little sad. But like I said, at best third round, and that's it. And that's Chip Kelly got to be pleading his case. He'd be like, Chip Kelly got to believe in him 100%. Like if Chip Kelly's like, nah, don't draft him. No, you know what I mean? Because he needs to go to a place that like has a plan for him that could fit his skill set, especially early. Meaning that like he's not going to start right away, but like just have something for him to develop under, you know what I mean? Like have a plan for him because he has a big learning curve for sure. And he's like, man, that's a whole different conversation, man. Cause I've cooled down on Jalen Milroe. Like early on, I was like, you know what? I was big believer in the trades, but he's a little too risky. to go, even the third round, maybe fourth. Be honest with you, I know you said fourth round. I mean, like that's probably the best.
Yeah,
Perfect spot for him.
Like third. When we had 2 thirds, that'd have been perfect. When we had 2 thirds, but now we already got a quarterback, one of our thirds. So it's like, do I really like it? If you're trying to win now, if your intention is to win now, you can't really justify taking Jalen Milroe early. You can't take him day 1 or day 2. It has to be day 3 if you expect to win right now. So I can't see them doing it. I can't see them doing it.
Yeah, man. But hey, man, let's move it along, man. Hey, it's that time. You already know what time it is, man. It's flag on the play.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Severe, if you want to give the first flag on the play.
So we just recently had the title game, for the NCAA tournament. It was Houston, the Houston Cougars versus the Florida Gators. I mean, actually, you know what? This could have been flag on the play too. This is honorary mention flag on the play because in the semifinal game, in the Final Four game, Houston they beat Duke, upset, and Hakeem Olajuwon, who played for the Houston Cougars, in the 80s, and obviously played for the Houston Rockets for his career. He was trying to get onto the court, and they wouldn't let him get onto the court. Like, they told him no. So they did that to Hakeem Olajuwon, yeah. So,
was he sitting courtside?
Yeah, bro. They told him who he was. They was like, "Yo, this is Hakeem Olajuwon." The dude was like, "Nope, not in my book. They're not getting on this court on my watch."
Oh my god.
Like these top flight security dudes was like, people too big for their britches. But they got a Houston legend in college and in the pros. And you tell this dude, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it's a close game between Houston and Florida, and the Cougars were down by 2, and they had a chance to go for the tie, and this is going to be a moment that haunts this young man probably for the rest of his life, probably for the rest of his basketball career. He's going to have nightmares about what could have been. Yeah.
And when it pours, it rains. So we're going to give him a flag on the play so he knows how much he messed up on that day now. But we had to give him a flag, man. That was
an insult to injury.
Yeah, insult to injury, man. You get the flag on the play, man. If it gets to him, if he watches the show, man, we had to do it, man. Flag on the play. Shoot the ball, man. Shoot the shot. Yeah. He just overthought and just, it is what it is, man. It was a terrible way for losing. If he would have missed the shot, it would have been like, you know what I mean? At least you went down fighting, swinging. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when you kind of lose in those types of ways where you don't even give yourself an opportunity. It's almost like Derek Carr on 4th down throwing the ball away. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like those types of plays would be like, come on, man, just throw it. Give your receiver a chance.
Give dude a chance, bro. Give dude a chance.
Right.
Right.
All right.
He got in the air and he tried to dribble. Like he thought he was going to get a shot block, tried to dribble, but you can't start your dribble from midair. So he couldn't touch the ball, and time ran out, and it's ugly, man. It's just an ugly play, man. It's ugly.
Hey, is this about Jalen Milroe whistling the empty halls?
Yeah, fact. Man. It's cold.
Man, y'all have a sense of humor, man. That's what's up, bro. But, just to keep it with basketball, man, hey, the Denver Nuggets definitely flag on a play right here, man. Denver Nuggets went ahead and fired their head coach before the playoffs. Like, they're literally one of the teams that slotted to, go to the playoffs right now. And they decided to fire the coach for whatever reason. I mean, there must have been like a disconnect somewhere. I know they've been losing some tough games against some of these teams here and there. I know they lost against the Warriors. Shout out to the Warriors, man, doing their thing. Yeah. But, flag on a play, man. Why, I don't understand firing a head coach right before the playoffs. I could understand, like, maybe there was a disappointment as far as how the season went. Then you make the move. Or maybe you do it after the season end. Maybe there was like, all right, you know what? We feel like we've hit our ceiling with Michael. But literally before the playoffs, you're kind of throwing the towel on the season, and the season's still going. Like, you're still competing, which is random. I mean, what are your thoughts when you heard Mike Malone got fired? Him including the GM as well.
Yeah. The GM is gone at the end of the year. Mike Malone, they think he's fired effective immediately. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, man, because you think about Mike Malone, he was a coach of the Grizzlies too, and he kind of got fired prematurely there as well. And we talk about them being in the playoffs. Like, we talk about them being in the playoffs, right? It's not like they're like squeaking into the playoffs. Like, man, like they're teetering on the edge. Like, they're the 4 seed. You know, the West is extremely close, so there's not a lot of space between the 8th seed and the 4 seed. But they're the 4 seed, and they've been missing some of their best players. Jamal Murray, namely, who was essentially their second best player. He's been missing. He's been in and out of the lineup. So you're doing this, without your second best player. You're still a 4 seed in the toughest conference, with the best player in the league on your team. So you feel like if you go into the playoffs with the best player in the league on your team, you're already a championship team, who's won it before, with the championship coach. Like, you feel, hey, you know what? We get hot at the right time, we can beat anybody. And for them to fire him, that's wild to me. Like, and only way I can understand that is if Jokic, who was their best player, Nikola Jokic, if he was like, yeah, man, like, dude got to go. Like, if Jokic be like, dude got to go, then you kind of got like, all right, yeah, you know what? Sorry, Mike. Peace. You replaceable. He ain't. But short of that, bro, I don't see the logic in that. I don't see the logic in it.
Yeah, I think that probably happened. That's what probably would happen. That's the only reason why you would fire. Like, shout out to Raider Smoke. He says, fired Mike Malone for holding players accountable is diabolical. He fired their ass up in that presser after the game. So if that's the case, that's a terrible message. That's a terrible, like. So what is the next guy gonna do? He's just gonna kiss the player's ass, like, and players are just gonna get away with not doing whatever they need to do to win games. And then what are you trying to build there? Like, I guess they won their championship and like, all right, well, that's probably why the Nuggets has been terrible for years. And then finally they get a team that's worthy of winning the championship or have a championship worthy player. And then they mess it up. But it is what it is. But that kind of it's not even just Mike Malone. I think this is just a sign of NBA ownership siding with players over the coaches, which sucks because remember what happened to the coach for the Kings at the time? He got fired during the season. Mike Brown. And that whole situation was because he held the star player De'Aaron Fox accountable, and he ended up getting traded. He ends up going to Spurs eventually. It's like, man, like what do you gotta do? Smoke says very indicative of today's society, very weak, and these organizations coddling the divas. Yeah, man, it's not a good sign, man. It's not a good sign, man. We'll see how it works but I feel like the teams that are gonna win long term and consistently are gonna have at least a level of accountability. And these teams are watch it. Look, if this is gonna be the beginning of the end for the Denver Nuggets, I think. In my opinion. Yeah. Come on, like
yeah.
What is the next guy gonna do? What's the next guy gonna do? Like, yeah,
it sets a bad precedent, and it is indicative of today's, like, the thinking that these. But the NBA that's the thing. The NBA is different than the NFL. The NBA, the players have basically all the power. They're the faces of the league. They're the faces of the league, and there's so few players on the team. You're not like just a cog in a wheel anymore. Like, when it's 53 guys, it's a whole lot different than when there's only 15. And only 5 on the court at the same time, and you got to play offense and defense. Like, you got a lot more power at that point.
Bro, my AAU coaches growing up make Mike Malone look like a princess.
Man. Bro, yeah, man. If you ever play youth sports, bro.
Man, it is what it is, man. It's just like you said, like it's the way the players are getting. It's a different type of player these days, different type of person that goes into the NBA. Like, what they grow up on is different than what we grew up on. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it shakes out. But hey, I will say that I feel like what's name's a good coach. The coach for the Lakers. I think he's.
Oh, JJ Redick.
I think he's a good coach, man. He seemed like
JJ Redick's legit.
He's a good coach.
Legit.
I think they found a good coach for Lakers, man. I'll say that.
If it wasn't for what's my man's name for the Cavs, he's probably gonna win Coach of the Year. Dang, what's his name? Kenny Atkinson. If it wasn't for Kenny Atkinson gonna probably win Coach of the Year. Ime Udoka gonna probably be second, and then the coach for the Thunder gonna probably be fourth. JJ Redick is like probably right there at fifth for coaching. But there's like it's been some crazy turnarounds on teams. Like Kenny Atkinson, what he did with Cleveland is crazy. What Ime Udoka is doing with the Rockets is like even crazier.
He's a great coach. Ime Udoka is a great coach. There's a reason why like he was able to get another opportunity as a head coach. Like the dude can coach. Yeah. He was the reason why he was part of the reason why the Boston was able to develop and build their team, and the rest is history with them. They were able to fill him in with another guy, but yeah, Udoka is a good coach. But yeah, man, I could see JJ Redick winning that award in the future, especially if they build a better team. LeBron got to step back though. LeBron looking old. I'm not gonna lie, he looking a little bit old, man. He look long in the tooth. I don't know if I know you're a big time Laker fan, so I know you're paying attention. But he's looking, man. You can't blame him. Do you see what I'm saying? Like there be times where we're like, man, like he dribbles when you start dribbling a lot, like when he dribbles the ball a lot to get to his shot. I'm like, damn, like that was Kobe. That was Kobe at the end of his career. That was like a lot of players when they get to that age, like when they start dribbling a lot just to get to their shot. It's just like It's Father Time is undefeated, man. It's undefeated. But yeah, man, that's the NBA, man. Obviously, we're gonna call flags on a play, no matter the sport. So it is what it is. But make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Let's move along, man. Let's get to notable quotables. It's where we find quotes that that are worthy of us playing on the show, and we can have that conversation. And Severe, if you want to give the first notable quotable.
So the first notable quotable here is we were talking about Geno Smith's presser earlier, and one of the things that stuck out to me, and one of the things that we constantly hear, has been like a constant theme of Geno Smith's career, is that he is supremely confident in himself. He thinks that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's part of the reason why he was going to these different spots and taking these backup jobs with just the hopes to get into the competition, because he feels that in a straight up competition, he can win. It's part of the reason why he was unwilling to accept the deal with the Seahawks, because he felt the deal was disrespectful of a player of his caliber, and he feels he should be, treated like one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So he was asked the question about, hey, at any point did he just resign his thoughts to saying, hey, I'm going to be a backup the rest of my career and just accept that fate. And he gave a very interesting and very confident response.
Hold on 1 second. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, shout out to my guy Raider Smoke. Kenny Atkinson is off the Mike Budenholzer tree. Kenny, Raider Smoke.
Yeah, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I knew an opportunity would come if I just continued to work hard and continue to believe. And right before Coach called me and said, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to start, you got to go compete for it, I was already saying I'm going to take someone's job somewhere. And again, not in a cocky or arrogant way, but I just feel that I'm one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm out to go out there and prove it. I want to prove it to my teammates every day. I want to prove it to the organization every day. And then when the product goes out there on Sunday, I want to make sure that I'm one of the best. Yeah,
Man. The dude, this is the confidence that we're talking about, man. which I respect, man. That's how you, hey, that's how you got to be able to believe in yourself. If you're going to play in the league long enough and also like have the type of journey that he had and to keep going and eventually become a starter for Seattle, and then obviously he's now the starter for the Raiders, who signed a big time contract. If you would have told us that a few years ago, no one would have believed Geno Smith get $100 million deal. Like what?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. The Raiders are doing Raider like nah. This is actually a pretty. Oh, was it low? Here, I go play it again. Raider like nah. This is actually a pretty.
Hold on.
Was it low?
Hold on, let's see.
Y'all
Y'all hear it?
DJ. You guys are DJ.
Yeah, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I knew an opportunity would come if I just continued to work hard and continue to believe. And right before Coach called me and said, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to start, you got to go compete for it, I was already saying I'm going to take someone's job somewhere. And again, not in a cocky or arrogant way, but I just feel that I'm one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm out to go out there and prove it. I want to prove it to my teammates every day. I want to prove it to the organization every day. And then when the product goes out there on Sunday, I want to make sure that I'm one of the best. Yeah.
Man, he do, like I said, I don't know if y'all heard that. Let me know, Space Beast, if you heard that, but he do talk like he about to have the biggest season of his career.
Right.
Like he about to come in, he about to
bro.
have like 5 touchdowns game 1. He's gonna be dominated. I'm not gonna lie, but that's the type of belief he has, man. I'm not mad at him, man, for having that. But like I said, my expectations for him to be like an Alex Smith type of quarterback for the Raiders, a game manager. Yeah, that was 2 times, but all right, for sure, man. That's good. All right, cool. But yeah, what was your take on Geno Smith and his pressure and his comment that he made?
Yeah, man, you gotta be like it just shows the extreme confidence that he has in himself, and like you gotta be extremely confident to think to yourself like, I think at that point he hadn't started a game in like 4 years or something like that, like something like 3 or 4 years he hadn't started or had the opportunity to start a game. So like to think that like, you know what, hey, if these dudes ain't gonna let me start, I'm about to take somebody's job. Like it may not be here, but one of you other 29 teams, or not 29, 31 teams, I'm taking one of y'all spots. I'm taking one of y'all. Y'all about to lose the starting quarterback because I'm about to come in there and take his job. Like that's supreme confidence, especially after you're just being told no by a team that you were with. They said no, to still have that confidence in yourself. Like, all right, y'all said no, that's y'all bad. I'm about to go out here and still do me. I'm still one of the better dudes in the league. I'm about to show. So I just think that, having that attitude, like that type of confidence is infectious. That kind of like unflappable, just I'm that dude, and I'm going to show y'all I'm that dude. And whoever behind me, just know y'all behind somebody that's that dude. And we about to go out here and we about to do what we do. And, that's something that we really haven't had, like for as talented as he was, like that's not Derek Carr. Like we haven't really had that since Gannon. And I hate to say it, since Gannon, really. Somebody that just really just felt like, yeah, you know what, I'm this dude. And
has an edge to him.
He has like where you can be like, man, okay, like, like the type of guy that's going to instill confidence in because of how confident he is in himself. So maybe Jimmy G, but Jimmy G don't got the talent to back it up. Like Jimmy G just, Jimmy G confident. He talk trash in practice, but like he don't got the talent to back it up. Geno Smith has the talent and he has the confidence.
Whew, yeah, Jimmy G, man, talent. That's not something that he allergic to that.
Yeah.
But Smoke says if Nick Foles can win a Super Bowl, I don't see why Geno can't with the right pieces. Let's not forget Geno was dog at West Virginia. He's got talent for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. He's a film guy's dream. When watching him, I guess a lot of film guys love Geno. They talk about it like how accurate he is, the type of throws he made. He has arm talent, and this, that, and the third. Smoke says love his attitude, confidence, not quite like my boy Jameis, but it's there. But Jameis got it's goofy confidence. It's hella goofy. It's just like it just makes you laugh.
I already gave Pharaoh my take. I can't say it. I gave Pharaoh my take on the glasses.
Well, did you talk about his glasses? You must have talked about his glasses because Space Beast talking about.
No, I didn't talk about him at all, but everybody saw him.
Space Beast, you're funny. You're funny.
I told you my thoughts on the glasses, bro. I told you my thoughts on the glasses.
We're just gonna leave it at that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, he's sophisticated, man. He's the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. Most Raiders were allergic to young, futuristic franchise QB. Nah, it's not that. It's just we have someone in place. We got a veteran in place. The Raiders are at pick number 6. It's not like we had a chance to get in Cam Ward. Cam Ward is going to be pick number 1. You know, this draft is kind of like a mixed bag when it comes to the QBs. I just feel like, you know what? The Raiders did the right, smart move. They got a guy in place. Until they find their guy, you know, they have Geno Smith. And I think they can possibly still take a QB in the draft, possibly. But, man, it's like if you told me a couple months ago, I'm like, oh, yeah, the Raiders are going to definitely pick a QB in the draft. But now I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just the amount of holes that we have on this team is crazy. So, you know, we'll see, man. Let's move on to the next notable quotable. And this was Mike Mayock, who's good friends. I think he's good friends with his boy that he does. I think he does like a weekly spot for was it Rich Eisen?
Rich Eisen.
So he'll come in every week, you know, and talk to, you know, his boy Mike Mayock, and Mike Mayock gives his 2 cents on what's going on in the NFL. Obviously, the draft is coming up. That's Mike Mayock's wheelhouse. He was NFL Network's draft expert for years. Daniel Jeremiah kind of took that spot. But, you know, he was a former GM for the Raiders, and he had an interesting take on what the Raiders should do at number 6. And I'm not sure if y'all would like this, but let's go ahead and hear what he has to say.
You know, I've known Pete Carroll forever, and Pete wants to run the football. He wants to jam it down your throat, be physical, be tougher than you are, play action. He trusts Geno Smith, so he's got his quarterback. He's got a great tight end. It's not a wide-out draft at the top end of the draft, but he needs another weapon for Geno. And to me, that's Jeanty from Boise. And, you know, you might say that's too high for a running back. I would argue that, you know, what Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson and Josh Jacobs and all those former first-round picks have done more than justifies a weapon on offense. And I think that would be a great match for the Raiders. You know, I've known Pete Carroll forever.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Mike Mayock, he was the guy that drafted Damon Arnett. You know what I mean? He admitted, he said he was the guy that drafted Damon Arnett. Kevin Lurker, he picked Leatherwood. That was a Tom Cable guy. You know what I mean? But he was in the building when he picked Leatherwood. Mint Beats says, man, there's a reason Mayock's still unemployed. Yeah. And look, the reasons, like the examples that he's giving are like, all right, Josh Jacobs. He was picked in the 20s? In the latter,
yes.
Like, that's different from picking a guy at number 6. Jahmyr Gibbs, he was going to a team that's already kind of built to win now in the Detroit Lions. So they were able to take a luxury pick at running back. Yeah. And he talks about Atlanta Falcons, but you look at the Atlanta Falcons, I mean, what have they done? They have Gibbs, but have they gone to the playoffs? Did they go to the playoffs this year? No. They almost did. But how many years has Gibbs been? Has Bijan been on the team? Yeah. Since he's been drafted. I mean, it's been like 2 or 3 years.
2 years. Yeah.
And they haven't been a playoff team. So what's the impact of that move? You know, and they picked him at number 8, so kind of similar. You know, 2 spots away. Yeah. It's just, man. The Raiders got way too many holes. I don't think. And Daniel Jeremiah, I think we need to play that every week until the draft pass, like where he breaks down how you evaluate. And I'm gonna pull. Let's play that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look for that. I'm gonna look for that clip because I feel like that is a great way to evaluate the running back position and as far as your team goes. Let me see if I can find it here.
Yeah, man. If Mike Mayock, there has to be some kind of consideration of value, positional value, depth of a particular position in the draft, what the team needs are. Like all that stuff should be factored in. And as we kind of see with Mike Mayock drafting Cleveland Farrell at 4, like he sometimes he doesn't consider any of that. So I can't trust his take on this one. And it's not saying Jeanty is not going to be a good player. They're not saying Jeanty is not going to be a great player. It's just saying that you can find very good backs later in the draft. Kyron Williams is a late round guy. Bucky Irving, late round guy. Tyrone Tracy, late round guy. Like you can find those guys later on, so you don't have to draft and consistently, right? It's not like a one-off thing where, okay, hey, you know what? We hit this is consistent every year. There are those kind of guys available. So why spend premium capital on a position that you can, get with those other picks, especially in a year like this where there's going to be so many of them and a lot of them are going to be available in those middle rounds. So address a different position and then still be able to get a starting running back in the 3rd and the 4th rounds. Like I think that just makes the most sense. And as somebody, as we said before, there's a reason this dude ain't getting no looks.
So here's the clip of Dan Jeremiah, and this is probably a great take on how the Raiders should go about drafting a running back or any team.
I want, in my take on running backs, and I'll get to CD on this one, I just want, if you're going to invest in, let's talk about the draft here. If you're going to invest a high pick in a running back, let's shift the conversation. I want all of his carries to matter. In other words, I want to have the team built up, and then when I insert him, knowing I've got a 5 to 8 year window here, I want all those carries to matter. If I'm a terrible team and I take a running back, I'm going to waste 3 years of carries on him, and then I'm not going to have enough when my team's ready for him.
Look at the Falcons. They wasted about 3 to 4 years with Bijan, to be honest with you. Like, because Bijan, he's a really talented running back, but he hasn't played on a good team. Look at Saquon Barkley. People realize how good Saquon Barkley is as soon as he got to the Eagles. They go and win a Super Bowl. Best player on the team. They're talking probably the best player in the league, and yada yada yada. But like this is Saquon Barkley that got drafted at pick number 3. So everybody knew how talented he was coming out. It's just he went to a situation where the team wasn't good. So, man, I don't think the Raiders are in a position to take a running back early, in my opinion. I think they're still in that building process of building that team. Look, we just got done talking about like how many holes they have on this roster. It's tough, but in our argument, you could possibly make an argument for taking Jeanty because, like I said, the number one thing that I can think of is the fact that we don't have a lot of game breakers on offense. But it's just the value, man. There's so many running backs in this draft. I'm like, man, you got a guy like Chip Kelly who's I can see a Chip Kelly making it work with a guy that he takes in the 2nd or 3rd round and another running back he takes in the 5th. And the way the running back position is going in the NFL's running back by committee. And that's how he did it in college with, at Ohio State with Judkins and Henderson. He probably could get it. It's possible he can get both those running backs again and play for the Raiders, or he could, get his version of that in this draft. But,
facts. Facts.
We'll see, man. We got everybody pulling up. Make sure. The Space Beast says the positional value does not match the financial draft capital value at all. Running backs are lucky to make $10 million per year if they make a second contract. However, offensive tackle, offensive guard, wide receiver, QB, DND tackle. Look, man, you can make a case the Raiders have a need at every one of those positions.
Yep.
Pretty much we do. I mean, DN, Kuntz is on a 1-year deal. If he balls out, he's probably going to get a big-time contract. I'm not sure if the Raiders are going to want to put all that money all in one position because they're already paying Max Crosby. Who's the third pass rusher? Tyree. Is Tyree going to take the next step this year? Are you going to bet on that?
Tyreek, Snowden.
Snowden? Are you gonna bet on Snowden? I mean, maybe as a role player, but not.
Yeah, not as a full-time
not
starter.
Like full-time starter. Like I don't know. And obviously D tackle Christian Wilkins. He's getting paid a whole lot of money. I like him, but he was a previous regime's signing. So I'm not sure how the Raiders feel. Maybe they want to go cheap at that position. Maybe draft his replacement and eventually get out of that contract.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Then you still need a two-gapper as well, like a guy that's a big body nose tackle, strong against the run. You got Leaky for two, but you might want to upgrade there as well. So DT still a possibility.
Yeah, no, facts, man. And Raiders X says Jeanty looks to be a dog, but it's just possible for him not to even be the best running back in this class. Yeah,
it's very possible. Like people talk about the running back. Oh, you have to get this guy. Like who's the best running back of all time? People would say, right? Who's the best running back of all time? Most people say. Usually just one name. But people usually say Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders won one playoff game his entire career. And that was in the era when the running backs were the most valuable. So now running backs have diminished value. And you want to tell me that you're going to draft a guy at 6 when you have all these other holes on your team? Like, it just don't make it just.
I will say this. Jeanty makes watching the Raiders offense on Sunday way more exciting.
Yeah.
Because he has that ability. Like, he could take it at the house at any given moment. He'll do something like crazy where he break a couple tackles or make a guy miss and then take it to the house. Like, he does give you that. But the crazy thing is the Raiders can get that. You know what I mean? They can get that type of running back. Maybe he's not as talented as a Jeanty, but they can get a thunder and lightning in this draft.
Yeah. You can get a guy that's just as exciting to watch play football, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Like there's some guys that are super shifty in this class, that are lightning in the bottle type guys where, hey, you pick this guy later on in the draft, you got a back that's exciting, like very exciting to watch. So it doesn't have to be Jeanty at 6. Is Jeanty, should he be a very good player in this league? Yes, he should be a very good player in this league. But you don't prioritize that position in today's game, unfortunately.
Smoke says 50 Live Show Raider Nation at venue before the season starts. Yeah, man. Hey, you might be on to something.
Yeah. Hey.
We'll try to make something happen. Also, Severe, man. Hey, let the people know. I possibly might be able to make it. I'm still working some things out. But there's going to be a Raider event in Bakersfield.
Yeah. The Raider Summer Kickoff 2025 in Bakersfield, March 17th. So Saturday. I'm gonna be there. A whole bunch of Raider fans gonna be there. I've heard it's been of Raiders fans there in the past. So make sure y'all pull up. I think Jeremy Chin is gonna be there, doing the autograph signing. I think last year they had Devon Diablo. I think Jacoby. So it's gonna be fun, man. Like me, 805 is gonna be there. We're trying to get Chris from Protect the Shield to come through. Leo's gonna be there. A few other content creators as well, man. So pull up, chop it up with your boy, especially people that are in the Bay Area that they can't get down to Vegas. This is a little bit more accessible to y'all, man. So if you want to come through and holler at your boy, man, break bread. I think the mission is like $20 for a general ticket, $60 for a VIP, and I think that includes like food and drink, stuff like that. So yeah, man, just come through and holler at your boy.
There you go, man. So yeah, man, I'll see if I can try to make it out there as well. Smoke, if you want to come through, man, make sure. Hey, Bakersfield. Oh yeah, man. March 17th.
We'll find a golf course near there for you, bro. We'll find a golf course near there for you, man.
Yeah, for real, man. Maybe we could check out. You can check out my Charles Barkley swing. Yeah. Smoke says, not gonna lie, I would feel very underwhelmed if we take Jeanty at 6. Would be mad, but running back draft. So yeah, man. That's pretty much how we feel.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kevin Lurker. with the super chat, my guy, man.
He ain't watched them yet, Kevin Lecker.
He said, "You watched Lampkin?" Nah, I haven't. I'm not gonna lie, man. I haven't watched them. 5'10" guard. I gotta see it though. I definitely gotta see it.
Dog, bro.
What game you recommend watching?
Bro, he was a number one. Well, it's PFF, but he was a number one rated pass blocker, number 2 rated run blocker in all of college. So any game you put on, bro, he's doing work. You can watch him at the Senior Bowl. He was dogging people there. At 5'10", 277.
That's wild, man. Has there been a guard that's been successful in the NFL at that size?
No, bro. He's 3 inches shorter. He's 3 inches shorter than anybody that's ever been at guard. Anybody that's ever been invited even to the Senior Bowl. Like,
damn.
It's unheard of. It's unheard of.
Damn. That's wild. Super Army Current says Lampkin will be available later. Not a problem. Don't overthink it. Yeah. Nah, this is from last week. We did a mock draft, and Lampkin was the topic of discussion, and I was just like, man, the dude is super small playing that guard, but yeah, Willie Beeman Lampkin, is that the name we going with right now? Willie Beeman Lampkin.
Put a Brimblett real quick.
You said okay. People think Emmitt Smith one of the greatest. Also, he won some chips. Don't do they running backs like that?
Yeah, don't do the running back. Yeah, but thing is, Emmitt, if you put Barry Sanders on that team, they probably win more. No, that team had Michael Irvin, you had Troy Aikman, you had one of, if not the greatest line of all time. Plus, you had a pretty good defense. Plus, Jimmy Johnson was, just lightning in the bottle as a head coach. It's a great team, So if you have a great team and you add a great running back, just like what Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley wasn't doing anything on the Giants, or people didn't even think he was like, nobody was saying, oh, Saquon Barkley for sure the best running back in the league. Like nobody was saying that. Some people might have said, I think Saquon Barkley is that guy, but if you can hear an argument for somebody else. Now people are saying he's clearly the best running back in the league, and he just won a Super Bowl. He was the missing piece, but he wasn't the central piece. He was just the missing piece.
Torque says, "Yo, we not taking effing Willie Lampkin, bro." So you're not a fan, bro. He's not a fan.
Now I don't know. I don't know if he might go undrafted. That's an extreme risk because you look at the stat. Like people want to say, like, oh, look at the stat. Like look at the numbers he puts up.
Where would you take
advanced
him?
Analytics?
If you drafted him, where would you feel comfortable taking him?
5th, earliest 5th, the very earliest. Like ideally 6th. But the very earliest 5th. If that's you have to have extreme confidence.
The 5th is where I'm taking the second running back. That's what I'm taking. That's the goal.
You have to have extreme confidence you can make it work. The 5th. That's the very earliest. But ideally, like the 6th, 7th.
We'll see. So Trayvon Henderson would be better at second than the second. Then some people think Henderson might go in the first.
Yeah.
There's some people who feel like Henderson might be drafted in the first. And it's going to be interesting because there's so much depth at the running back position, so much talent, that we might see teams, there might be a run earlier than what people think. People think it's going to be like, oh, Jeanty, then maybe Omari and Hampton. But it might be Jeanty, it might be Omari and Hampton, it might be another running back, insert whatever running back that's getting a lot of buzz. Maybe a Henderson. I mean, Maurice Jones-Drew said he was talking to a lot of, running back coaches, and they're like huge fans of Henderson. Does he get the buzz? I mean, he has the skill set to play in today's NFL as far as, being a pass catching running back, could obviously pass block with the best of them. He got game breaking speed. So he might be another guy that might be taken in the first.
Yeah. He's a guy that's, he's more explosive than Jeanty, more elusive than Jeanty. I think he's much better as a receiver than Jeanty. He's not the same level. He's not the tackle breaker that Jeanty is. I think Jeanty has better vision too. But
you say he's more explosive than Jeanty? More explosive?
Oh, it's not even close, bro. It's really not even close. It's really not even close.
Jeanty looks pretty fast though, man. He looks pretty fast.
Jeanty, I feel the opposite. Jeanty looks like, there's a reason you don't run. If you're fast, you run. And because you want to show everybody you're fast. Like even if you like just think you're kind of fast, you still run. So the fact that he's not running, that lets me know like, okay. Like, and it's not like it's an injury situation, or it's like I don't want to do anything that could potentially damage my stock or give people a reason to say, you know what, I don't want to take him.
I don't know. I can see your point. It's like he's the approach for a lot of prospects now are like, if they feel like they're getting enough buzz to be the first guy at their position, they're not going to do anything to jeopardize that. Because a lot of guys right now are like, it's not just Jeanty that's doing that. Like a lot of prospects are doing that.
A lot of quarterbacks are doing that. Or sometimes receivers will do it. Receivers do it. Like,
it's been the trend lately. I'm just saying, like, it's not just Jeanty. Quarterbacks are doing that, but I mean, there's other position groups.
It's usually quarterbacks. I think the only guy that didn't run this year was Trav. I think last year was Marvin Harrison. But those guys were lock top 5 picks. Jeanty is not a lock top 5 pick. Jeanty's not a lock top 10 pick. You're a running back. Like you at that point, you want to show everybody, look, I am everything. I am not only my break tackle guy, I'm pass catch guy. I am run away from you guy too. And one of the ways you do that is you show that speed in the 40-yard dash. Like Bijan ran it, I want to say. I'm pretty sure Bijan ran it. It's like Bijan was considered the best player in that draft class, regardless of position. So if Bijan can run it in that draft class, like what makes Jeanty say like, oh, I'm not gonna run?
Yeah, but what I'm saying as of late though, it's been a trend as of late. Like
to go.
Bijan got drafted. What he got drafted like?
Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, but as of lately, there's been a lot of prospects that haven't been wanting to compete in position drills. They haven't at the combine, even the pro days.
Lock top 5 guys though. Those are guys like you're for sure going top 5. Like only people I can think of at skill positions that non-quarterbacks is Marvin Harrison and Trav. That's the only people I can think of off the top of my head right now. That didn't that was like, I'm not about to do anything. Like even, I think Teteroa didn't run this year. Now Teteroa ran. He ran his pro day. So like, it's something. They ran somewhere. Like some guys say I'm not gonna do it at the combine. A lot of times they'll do it at their pro days. But Jeanty didn't do it either.
But people question his speed though. People question Teteroa did it. People question his speed.
People were questioning Jeanty's speed.
I don't. Not as much as T-Mac though.
Not as much as T-Mac, but they question Jeanty's speed.
I don't know. I didn't question Jeanty's speed as much as T-Mac. T-Mac was like, I don't know, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but with Jeanty, it's like, it would be nice for him to run, but like if he didn't run, I don't think it was like oh my god, like
if
he wasn't goes out there. Look, a good example of a guy that you question his speed was the guy that who's going to be drafted in the 3rd or 2nd round out of Arizona.
Scatterable.
And he ran a great time. He ran a great time for what everybody thought that he was going to run. Like people thought he was going to run like 4.6, 4.7. He ended up running a 4.5 at his, if the reports are true, they try to hype up some of these timed 40 times, at the pro day, but that was a good example of a guy that you question his speed at running back. But a guy like Jeanty, I don't think you question as much. You would
Jeanty
like
looks like Jeanty looks like a low 4.5, high 4.6 guy. Which for a running back, that's all you really need. Like you don't have to be. But if you want to slam the door shut. Man,
yeah, bro.
If you want to slam the door shut. Because he's nowhere near as fast as Travion. Travion ran a 4.43, and Travion to me looks faster than 4.43.
Right.
Jeanty don't look that fast at all.
I was surprised
he was
that he
playing
ran a
against
4.43. I thought he was gonna run faster. He ran. If you want to really be honest, Judkins surprised me running a 4.47. So even though it's a difference between a 4.47 and 4.43, but like
Judkins look faster than Judkins looks faster than Jeanty, in my opinion. Even at Ole Miss, I think Judkins looked faster than Jeanty. That's before he even got to Ohio State.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that one, man. I don't know. But, you know, hey, that's you know, that's why it's called a 50-50 show, man. You know, there's two different perspectives. I think Jeanty looks pretty fast. I mean, I wasn't really tripping that he didn't run the 40 time. I get your point. You're saying that there might be a question mark there, but I feel like he's not the only one that I think that's a trend as of lately. Like guys that they feel like are secure at the top spot, they're not going to be doing too much.
But he's not secure at the top spot. He's not Travis Hunter. Who? He's not secure at the top spot.
No, Jeanty is the top running back at his.
He's top running back, but he's not secure as a top selection. That's my point. The guys that have done it before were secure, like, yo, I'm going top 5 for sure. Marvin Harrison Jr., Travis Hunter. That's the only two guys I can think of recently that did it. Those guys were top 5 locks. Like, ain't no way in the world. Like, if you drop outside of top 5, heads are going to explode everywhere, right? Trav Hunter, considered the best player in his class. Marvin Harrison Jr., considered by many the best player in his class. So it's like those guys were secured. Bro, we go on top 5. Jeanty's not that guy. Jeanty's like, he's the best running back, but there's questions like, oh, should we take a running back in the first? What's the positional value here? Should we even go top 10? Some people say he might slide down to 12 to that. You know, like he goes out there, he runs a 4.3. Oh, okay. Well, but like, you know, you have a whole different, like, there's a whole different conversation about Ashton Jeanty at that point.
Super Miami Crown says, how often was Jeanty caught from behind? He's a home run hitter just like Saquon. It was just versus lower competition. Okay.
Jeanty was a break tackle guy. He's not like a run pass you. He's like a break tackle. I'm going to break this arm tackle, and then, you know, as you fall to the ground from not being able to tackle me, I'll run away. It's not like I'm getting around you, zooming past you. I'm not. He's not a guy that, let's say, he's not a guy that's going to beat the angle. If you have the angle on Ashton Jeanty, then, you know, he's going to try to break the tackle.
So you don't look at it from perspective of like, all right, well, they obviously were game planning against one guy at Boise State. So despite them having everybody in that box, you're not looking at it from a perspective like, yeah, he broke tackles because he has everybody in that box to stop him. You didn't look at it from that perspective?
Jeanty last year at Boise State, when he wasn't even a starter, it was Helani who was the start of the season as a starter. And if Helani didn't get hurt, the Ashton Jeanty story may never get told. And I saw the same thing last year where he wasn't beat the edge on the guy. He was still, I'm a break tackle guy. I'm a run through contact guy. I'm a great contact balance guy where if you have shoddy form tackling, I'm going to make you look bad and I'm going to skip to the end zone. Like even last year when Helani was the guy at running back for Boise State, like Jeanty was still that same person. Last year, he just got a whole hell of a lot more carries.
Yeah, man. Hey, Min B says Jeanty 4.6 is crazy, man. 4.6 is crazy.
4.6. 4.6 is not crazy. That's Josh Jacobs running 4.6.
He's faster than Josh Jacobs.
I don't know about that. Josh Jacobs is doing that in the SEC.
Oh no! Come on, man.
Josh Jacobs doing that in the SEC, bro.
He faster than Josh Jacobs, man.
Josh Jacobs doing that in the SEC.
He's faster than Josh Jacobs. He's faster than Derek Carr, bro. But Derek Carr ran a 4.6 coming out of.
But that's Xavier Restrepo just ran a 5 flat, bro. Like so, it's like, you know, like I said. Sometimes those times ain't always reflected. But if you fast, you run.
Yeah, man.
If you're fast, you run.
So I was not secure in the top side, but still overall his rating. Not as secure in the top spot.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah, he's not secured to get drafted top. You know, just guaranteed to get drafted top 10. Trav is getting guaranteed, bro. Ain't no way in the world Trav not going top 10.
No. When I say secure, I mean the top running back at his top of his position group. Everybody has Jeanty as number one running back.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. But to see that, like, you're looking at, oh, he's saying I'm the top back, so that means something. That don't mean anything. Like, we've had classes where a running back don't go in the first round. We've had classes where a wide receiver don't go in the first round. So you don't care about being the first guy in your position group drafted. You care about your draft position, because draft position equals money. So if you want to lock in position and quiet any concerns people have about you, you put everything out there on tape. The fact that you don't run, even Chris Johnson said it. Chris Johnson said this himself. He said the fact that he don't run lets me know he gonna run slow. This is CJ2K,
bro,
who said this.
I still can't get over the fact that you compared him to Josh Jacobs as far as speed, because I didn't see Josh Jacobs do what Jeanty's doing.
I saw Josh Jacobs running way from people in Alabama. I can pull up the highlights.
Nah. He doesn't have crazy runs like Jeanty. But I will say this. I will say this. You're making an argument about Jeanty on him not. I agree. I could agree to a certain extent. Some of these prospects that are passing up, like, for example, the difference between, like, the top receiver that got taken obviously not this year, but last year, Marvin Harrison Jr. He was told by teams not to run, so that's why he didn't run. This year, players are choosing not to run. So I get you can argue like, you know what I mean? They should run.
What healthy skill player hasn't run?
You said what healthy skill player hasn't run?
What healthy skill player hasn't run? Like, what guy that was healthy? That's not a quarterback, because quarterbacks, those guys don't run. Like, Kyler didn't run. I don't think Lamar ran. Like, those guys don't run. So, but what healthy skill player hasn't ran this year?
But what I'm talking about is a player that's top of his position. Like, he's probably the most explosive playmaker in the draft in Jeanty.
Yeah. So but these other guys will be top of their position.
He chose not to run. So, but the other guys that you're going to mention are guys that, like, have a lot more to prove compared to Jeanty. Like all right, a guy like Matthew Golden, a guy like Isaiah Bond, a guy like T-Mac, a guy like Jalen Royals. Like, if you're talking about the wide receivers, I think those guys have to, they're competing to get picked earlier than where a lot of people perceive it for them to go. So if they have to run, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that Jeanty made the right decision by not running. I'm just saying that that's what they're doing now. That's what they're doing now. Like, it's not just Jeanty, it's other positions. And you might say, quarterbacks are doing.
So who hasn't run? That's like who was the guy that did not run?
A lot of quarterbacks haven't.
That's not a quarterback. Quarterbacks never run. Kyler didn't run. Like I said, Lamar didn't run. Those guys almost never run. If you're a first round quarterback, like, the only one I could think of that was like first round guy was, I think, Cam ran. But other than that, like, a lot of these guys don't run. And Penix ran, but people wanted Penix to run to prove health. So, like, as a skill player, a non-quarterback skill player that's healthy, who hasn't run? Trav. That's the only guy I can think of.
Trav.
At anything, like at anything, he just had a pro day.
And that's a good one. That's a good example. He's literally going to be picked probably top 5.
Exactly. That's my point. It's only guys that are like top 5 guys at skill positions that don't. That's why I said him and Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison was considered the best player in his draft class. He didn't run. Trav is considered, either him or Abdul Carter, the best players in this draft class. Neither one of those guys ran. And like top 5 picks. So it's not like considered the best, because Bijan was considered the best player in his draft class, but he still went out there and he ran. So Jeanty, he's the only guy not running. If you're not running, that lets me know. Like, yeah, that lets me know something.
Yeah, but I'm not stressing over it, bro. I'm not stressing that. What I've liked for Jeanty to run, yeah, because I want to know, like, if you're gonna pick a guy, if you're gonna pick a running back at 6, right? For example, I would want to know, like, that he's super athletic. I would want to know, like, that he's a monster, like the Saquons. You want to know that he's a Saquon type running back. You have it on paper, like to know that, oh, okay, this dude, he checks all the physical. I get that 100%. Exactly. But at the end of the day, even if he doesn't run, it's still like I kind of believe in the talent still. I don't.
Yeah. I'm not saying
the combine is a combine. It's not only like a piece of the puzzle, small piece of the puzzle.
I'm not saying he's not talented, and I'm not saying he won't be a good NFL player, but I'm saying my point is that Travion, there's a clear, separation in terms of explosiveness. Travion is much more explosive than Ashton. Well, not much more. Travion it's a gap between Travion and Jeanty in terms of explosiveness. It's a clear gap, and it may not be a super wide gap, but it's a clear gap. Whether that's straightforward or left-right, is a clear gap. But Jeanty gets but in terms of contact balance, Jeanty he's otherworldly. He's like on another planet. Like Travion don't got that. And nobody in his class really got it quite like Jeanty. Yeah. So that's his thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. Raider Zach says Jeanty runs as fast as he needs to, but probably around 4.4, 4.5. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's around there. But that's all we got. We're all like speculating about his speed, and I think that's the point, is that he should have ran or whatever, which is a good argument to make. Like, he should have ran, but it still doesn't change the fact I think everybody has him as number one on the board, and I think that's his argument. But but the thing is too, like I said, I think it's a good argument to make because, like I said, they told Marvin Harrison Jr. not to run. A lot of teams, he spoke to multiple teams, and that's why he didn't run.
Yeah, but Marvin Harrison didn't do medicals either. So that's what I'm saying. Like his was like, it was a different situation where he's just like, bro, like, I know where I'm going. I don't gotta participate in none of this pageantry. I know where I'm going. So It's not like that with Jeanty. He don't know where he's going. He has an idea where he could go, where he might go, where people are saying he will go, but he don't know where he's going just because the position by virtue of the position he plays. So if you're in that position, as you said before, if you're expecting to be a running back drafted in that top 5 to 10 picks, bro, you better show me you can catch the ball, you can block, you can run, you got elite speed, elite athleticism. You gotta show me all of that stuff. And if you're saying like, you know what, I'm not gonna run, like I got questions about that.
Ricky Beers says you're making the argument that Jeanty already has word from Raiders. He's their pick at 6 more than he's going to run slow.
No.
Jeanty's 40 time was unofficially set at 4.4. Did he? Did he run at on his pro day?
He didn't run. I think that's where people speculate.
Jeanty didn't run. What he on his pro day. Jeanty. He ran a 40 in his pro day?
He did not run. If he ran a 40 at his pro day, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
I'll just be citing the time.
Let me see.
He did field work at his pro day.
Hold on, but skipped the 40-yard dash. Okay, yeah. So he skipped the 40-yard dash and bench press with all 32 NFL teams in attendance.
Yeah. Which I don't care about bench press. I don't care about people like doesn't bench press doesn't show. How many times you say
but we can obviously see that he's a strong running back. Like, you can see this.
He's very strong. It's like, but I don't care about bench press don't mean anything. Like, bench press, you can be able to bench a lot. That doesn't mean you have functional strength. Like, bench pressing is more muscle endurance and muscle recruitment. So if you're strong enough and you train your nervous system to be able to lift that load, like, you're going to be able to lift a lot. It's people that aren't as strong as other people that can bench. That's why certain people can do calisthenics better. Certain people can do like weight training better. It's all about muscle recruitment, what your body is used to doing.
Yeah, Omnicron, I think he's a 4.4, 4.5 guy in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, he didn't.
If you think he's anywhere near as fast as Travion, he's not. He's not.
Well,
if he was, he'd run.
I didn't think Judkins was near as fast as Henderson, and he ran a 4.47, and Henderson ran a 4.43. So it's just a matter of like.
faster than Jeanty.
You think Judkins is faster than Henderson?
Straight line. I think Judkins is faster than Jeanty. I don't think Judkins doesn't move.
No, but
Judkins is not.
But what I'm saying is, I don't think Judkins is as fast as Henderson, his backfield mate.
Wait, but he didn't run as fast as Henderson.
But he ran like a 4.47 and 4.4, and Henderson ran a 4.43. What I'm saying is, we all know that Henderson is way faster than a 4.43.
Yeah.
So what do we? I don't know, man. All I'm saying is, I think Jeanty is a 4.4 guy. 4.45 guy at the slowest. 4.6, 4.7, man. That's wild, bro.
But this whole conversation before, he's like, I didn't say 4.7. I said he's 4.5.
You said 4.6 though. You said 4.6.
I said low 4.5, high 4.6.
4.6. You're saying Josh Jacobs. He's Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I think that's comparable. I think that's comparable speed for him.
And Omicron, we just checked, bro. He didn't run up. He didn't run. So I don't know where you're getting this unofficial time. To be honest,
some of these scouting sites will have like an unofficial, like it's like what they think they'll run, or like how guys will watch tape and be like, okay, I think this is the time he's in this range. Like when scouts will say, hey, I think he's in this range. I think he's a 4.5, 4.48 guy. Like that's speculation. So
okay.
But this whole thing started with me saying that Travion Henderson is more explosive. And you're like, oh no, he's not. Like, nah, Travion Henderson is more explosive than Ashton Jeanty. I don't think that. I don't see how you could debate that.
I'm just saying that you made it seem like Jeanty was not explosive at all. So I had to be like, because sometimes
but Travion is more explosive.
When you talk about certain things, you'd be like, it's a matter of fact. But like at the end of the day, like.
So it's not. Wait, no, time out. So it's not a matter of fact that Travion is more explosive than Ashton Jeanty. That's not a matter of fact.
I'm just saying Jeanty's explosive. You're not saying it. According to you, Jeanty's not explosive.
No, but there's levels to it. Like I think Kobe Bryant can jump high, but I think Anthony Edwards jumps higher. That's not saying Kobe Bryant doesn't jump high, but there's levels to it. No, Ashton Jeanty is not unexplosive. I think he's more than explosive enough to be a very good NFL running back, but he's nowhere near it. He's not as explosive as Travion Henderson.
East Coast says Dylan Sampson. That is it. That is all. He just says Dylan Sampson.
Dylan Sampson. I think Dylan Sampson is more explosive. I think too. So, but
he did run. He did run a 4. I think he ran a 4.4. 4.4 at his pro day.
Probably. Yeah. Oh yeah, because he didn't run at the. Right.
Yeah. Unofficial time. It was like, let me see. Now Dylan Sampson did run at his pro day. I think he ran, let's see. Yeah, 4.42. So ran faster time than Henderson. You know what I mean?
That's a pro day time.
It's a pro day, you know what I mean? So
it's not laser time.
Did Ohio State have their pro day already?
I don't know.
Ohio State had a pro day? Probably Henderson's probably gonna stand on this time. He's not gonna try to run. But that's wild that I thought he was gonna run like a 4.3 or something like that. But
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was gonna be like high 4.3, like 4.37, something like that. But he ran faster than I thought. Judkins ran a little bit faster. I mean, he ran slower than I thought. Judkins ran a little bit faster than I thought. I thought Judkins was gonna be like 4.51, 4.52 type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that getting to the 4.4s, that was big for him.
Yeah. Jeanty doesn't have to buy her. Okay. That's true. Jeanty could have been told he doesn't have to run by a team. That's true. Roz, you're right. That's true. That could also be the case, but because I could see the Bears drafting him. I could see a few teams drafting him. Like after everybody's saying, "Oh, the Raiders are going to pick number 6," but I think like he's most likely going to be picked like maybe somewhere in the top 10, like maybe like the Bears. The Bears, I feel like would be perfect. With the offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, leading the way. He's probably going to want to get his running back in the business. They already have DeAndre Swift, but like he probably couldn't help but draft a guy like Jeanty.
Yeah, because that's Jameer Gibbs was drafted to replace DeAndre Swift. So yeah. I mean, you could always be upgraded over. But yeah, I mean, he can conceivably have been told, but
that's what I'm saying.
but if there's even a chance that a team, I mean, it depends on where that team is drafting at, though. If you think it's like the Bears at 9, but then it's like, well, damn, you willing to, or not the Bears at 9, the Bears at 10, right? The Bears at 10. Like, so you want to slide all, you could potentially slide all the way down to 10 when there's teams that are in front of them that need a running back, that could use a running back, and you can potentially make millions of more dollars by getting drafted higher. Like, by just, like, okay, you're not going to fall past 10. Like, I don't know.
Man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Here we go, man. So let's move it along to what's real, what's not. This is where I say a statement, me and Severe say a statement, and you guys react as well as us by saying it's real or it's not. And the first what's real or not statement is, with Geno Smith at the helm, the Raiders will be a top 10 passing offense in the league. Is that real or is it not? So with Geno Smith at the helm with the Raiders will be a top 10 passing offense in the league. Let me know if that's real or is it not. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that it's not real. At best, top 15. And that's me just being very optimistic as far as, because we don't know who we're going to get at wide receiver. There are question marks if Chip Kelly can, it's not one of his strengths, a very, to his passing game ain't really one of his strengths as an offensive coordinator. He's more known for his running game. Now, if you told me like, hey, if this what's real, what's not statement was like the Raiders will have a top 10 running offense, obviously granted that we obviously addressed the running back position in the draft, then I could be like, oh, okay, man, that might be possible. It's possible. I mean, you got you combine it with Chip Kelly, and then you add some talent at running back. But right now, it's a little too early, so I'm gonna say it's not real. Not real. What's your take?
I'm gonna say it's real. Last year the Seahawks, they were, I want to say eighth in the league in passing. The Raiders, I believe, they're like 13th or 14th. And they were only 5 yards per game away from the 9th spot. So I think Geno Smith is good for I think he's good enough for an upgrade at 5 yards per game. And I think one thing that will benefit him is that I think the run game will be better. So I think that will open up play action. And I think that, we will. I think Brock is going to be able to eat off play action. I think Jacoby is going to be able to eat off play action as well. Just, crossers across the field where, they start off blocking a guy, release, get across the field, long gain. So I think those two elements, just the ability to run play action more because of a more effective run game, I think that opens things up for the passing game. And I think that it'll be a top 10 passing offense. I think they'll barely squeak into the top 10. Like I said, just 5 yards per game away from being 8th last year with how horrible the quarterback play we got.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now everybody's saying not real, just because, it's hard to answer this question, especially because it's before the draft. We got to see how the Raiders address, the wide receiver position, even like they haven't, we would, at this point, we thought they were going to probably sign a veteran wide receiver. I think they tried to bring in some guys, but they haven't officially signed anybody. Also, we got to see if they address the wide receiver position in the draft, as well as running back. It's kind of hard to say, but like as of right now, I'm going to say it's not real, man. A lot of people kind of are leaning that way as well. Super Omicron says, assuming Bowers and Jacoby both go for 100 receptions, double digit in I'm assuming that's touchdowns, and Geno throws for 4,000 yards. We'll see.
Yeah. He threw for 4,000. I think he threw for 4,000 all 3 years in Seattle, I believe. So
Matt says, if you trade down and draft T-Mac, yes. Okay. All right. If you add T-Mac to the equation, he feels like there's a chance to be a top 10 passing offense. Man. All right, man. We'll see.
They were I think 13th last. Somebody looked that up. They were 13th to 14th last year. Somebody looked that up.
The Raiders?
Yeah,
13 or 14.
That's what I just said, bro. They were 13th or 14th last year. They were only 5 yards for being 5 yards per game being out of the top 10. I think Seattle was like 7th or 8th.
It's that's crazy that that just making that change at offensive coordinator made that much a difference. Because I wonder what the ranking was before, you know what I mean, before we made that change at OC.
It's probably higher. We're probably better passing before. We actually probably took a step back in terms of passing. We were the number one passing offense. Remember, Gardner Minshew, like for the first 5 weeks, led the league in passing. It's just that it wasn't effective.
Because we couldn't run the ball.
Yeah, and we couldn't score in the red zone, and he was turning the ball over way too much. So, you know, it wasn't a matter of the yards per se. It was the fact that it was Derek Carr yards, like empty calories.
But Zach has a point. We're going to run the ball.
We are going to run the ball, yeah. We're run the ball.
So I think best case scenario is top 15. And they
we're
still
top 15 last year.
Yeah. Best, as far as top 15, as far as passing. I feel like
so that would be a step back. That would be a step back. So
no. If top 15 and then top 15 passing, but you combine that with obviously being one of the best running teams in the NFL. But that's hard to say right now. It's like, man, it's early, man. We got to see what the Raiders do in the draft, but we do got high hopes for Chip Kelly and how he's going to design that run game. And then obviously, if the Raiders do what they think they're going to do, especially with this running back class, they grab a couple of running backs, add them to the room, and then you give Chip Kelly something to work with. Then I think I could see them being like a good running team, and then you complement that with a solid pass game. But top 10, I don't know. They might have been top, like you said, they might have been closer to top 10 last year. If we really think about last year and how the offense looked, it was kind of like it was pretty bad. But I think a lot of that had to do with us not running the ball. Like, we couldn't run the football, so then we had to lean on the pass game. So I'm sure that kind of like skewed the stats a little bit. But yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, to think that they're a top 13. That's wild. But yeah, we'll see, man. Let's move on to the second what's real, what's not. Severe, if you want to give the second what's real, what's not statement.
Yes, sir. So the second what's real, what's not statement. The Raiders are more likely to draft Will Johnson in the first round than Ashton Jeanty.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders are more likely to draft Will Johnson in the first round than Ashton Jeanty.
I think that's real. That's real. I think if they would have it their way, they trade down and maybe draft a guy like Will Johnson, who's coming off an injury. I think he fits what the Raiders are gonna do on defense, especially after they just cut a guy, released a guy in Jack Jones because most likely because he doesn't fit what they're looking for at corner on the outside. So I can see that happening. At 6 though, I don't know. That's a little too much. It's too high.
Yeah. I say it's 6. I said in the first round. I say it has to be 6.
Okay, first round. Oh yeah. So I'll he said it's most likely for Will Johnson, right? To get
more likely Will Johnson and Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah, I say that's real, 100%. What's your take?
Yeah, it's real. It's definitely real.
Yeah, man.
Like perfect example, and we have recent history, right? Like we talk about Pete Carroll and what they did when they were in Seattle, right? They had an opportunity to take Bijan Robinson in that draft class. And who did they take instead of Bijan Robinson? They took Devin Witherspoon.
Oh, and then pick number 5, yeah.
Yep. And what did they do right in there in the second? And what they do second round? What did they do? They came around. They drafted Zach Charbonnet in the second round, that draft class. So they had an opportunity to take Bijan.
Yeah.
And they already had Tyreek Willis. So people, you don't need because they didn't do it because they had links. They had Kenneth Walker. That's right. They take him. Well, they had Tyreek Willis too. So they didn't have to take a corner either. So it was the best player in the draft, Bijan Robinson. Then there was, the consensus best corner. Some people said it was him. Some people had a Christian Gonzalez. Kind of like this year, you can say it's Will Johnson or it's Jade Barron, or some people like Siobhan Revel. Like it's one it's debatable. I think coming into the year, for most of the year, it was Will Johnson. So, and what did they do there? They elected to go corner, and they elected to say, you know what, we'll address running back later. I think a very similar scenario plays out, especially after they then got rid of, Jack Jones.
Yeah. And I think, like I said, Spytek's, even though he was laughing and joking around, I felt like sometimes when you joke around, sometimes jokes are like, just a creative way of telling the truth, man, sometimes. Yeah. And him joking around that his son was asking him, like, hey, you need to draft Jeanty at 6, or I'm going to tell the Raiders or Mark Davis that you're doing a bad job or whatever. Look, I think at the end of the day, him saying that, this ain't fantasy football where I'm going to draft, I think that really kind of told on himself a little bit. Like, they're not going to draft Jeanty at 6. They're not going to draft Jeanty at 6. Maybe if they trade down and he's still on the board, trade down, he's still on the board. But we didn't even talk about this, but there was a report about the Jets possibly considering drafting Jeanty at number 7 if he's still there, and the running back, Breece Hall, being available in a trade, who's still on a rookie deal. Would you look into that if you're the Raiders? Or are you still sticking to we gotta draft like our 2 running backs? Let's stick to the plan. You know what I mean? But I like Breece Hall though. I like Breece Hall.
I think you stick to the plan. I think you stick to the plan.
Because what would a Breece Hall even fetch for? You know what I mean? Like, what would he like? If you told me Breece Hall in a 2nd round pick for pick number 6, but that'd be the Jets would never do that. That's like, they would never do that. Like, that's not even smart. Just to go up one spot just to pick Jeanty. Like, when you have a guy at Breece, I'm always Zach, you make a good point. He is hurt. Witherspoon went to straight nickel corner spot. Damn. Oh, he played
both. He played both.
Oh, okay.
He played both. I think he played like 55% of his snaps at nickel though. It was something where it was like almost evenly split, but it was mostly nickel. I could be wrong on that ratio, but it was something like that, like 55-60% nickel, and then he played outside too.
Yeah. Nah, I agree, man. We're not buying into that. We're not buying. Bro ain't draft no running back here. Because Ricky was like, Spytek isn't picking no corner with the first pick ever. We'll see.
Jason Light picked a corner in the 1st round. Like, I forgot what year that was.
No, he said Spytek isn't going to be picking a corner. He don't think Spike, but
Spytek learned under Jason.
You said what?
Spytek learned under Jason Light. That was he was assistant general manager for, and Jason Light took a corner in the 1st round, like not that long ago. Vernon Hargreaves out of Florida.
He didn't.
I don't remember what year it was,
but I don't think he was asked. He was asked. Let's not talk about that, man.
He was asked, but he was too small though. That was his issue. He was too small. He just had crazy like ball skills, but he didn't have the corner built. I think that's where he kind of learned like, there's certain positions you gotta have like certain measurables for. That's why 'cause I think he ended up taking like guys. He took like Carlton Davis. He started taking guys like Carlton Davis, guys like that. What's the other dude? Jamal Dean. Like, you start taking like, okay, he learned his lesson. I ain't taking these small corners no more. I'm electing to go for bigger corners. And Devin Witherspoon fits that. Not Devin Witherspoon, I'm tripping. But Will Johnson fits that mode.
Our mate says there's a reason Pete wouldn't trade Crosby. He's going to build around that defense. I mean, that is his MO. He is a defensive guy at the end of the day, defense head coach. So he's going to want to build a good defense. He wants to build a good defense and run the football. So we'll see, man. We'll see how the draft shakes out. Obviously, free agency didn't really kind of show us a lot as far as how the team is going to be, how the team is going to be filled out. I mean, we kind of know it's going to be through the draft, but yeah, we'll see how it shakes out because the Raiders can go a lot of different directions early. I think it would be smart to go defense, but you can make an argument for wide receiver for sure. I think that's probably I would say that's probably the only offensive. Would you take offensive line? Would you consider that at 6?
I'd trade back
to take someone on the offensive line.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like Mimbu, but I'm not that high on Mimbu. I'd rather have Josh Simmons. You probably get Josh Simmons in the early teens. I like Josh Simmons.
If we can trade back and get another second round pick, and maybe and even another pick too, like a third or fourth.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's why I need Jeanty to run. I need Jeanty to run. So Jerry Jones is like, come on, Austin Jeanty, come on down, right? To Jerry's.
I know, right? But it's funny. I think what was it? We were just talking about it earlier. Maurice Jones-Drew, he was speaking on Ashton Jeanty, the running back class, and I think he made a comment. I think this speaks to your point, where he was like, he was responding to the comparisons because some people are comparing him to Ashton Jeanty a little bit, and he was like, well, he laughed, he chuckled. He's like, I did run a 4.3 coming out. So I was like, for you to make that comment, you're saying that like I ran faster than because Maurice Jones-Drew, he was a kick returner too.
Yeah, UCLA,
yeah. I think he was a kick returner for the Jaguars too. Early on. Or am I tripping? I feel like, especially his rookie year. I think his rookie year, I think he kind of surprised everybody how like explosive and well he played. But
people were sleeping on him. But
for sure. All about Maurice Jones-Drew. You UCLA fan.
UCLA fan. Yeah, I've been knowing him since he was just Maurice Drew. Before he added the Jones in there, he was just at UCLA. It was just Maurice Drew, and he was a dog. So, but yeah. So that means like I can see where people get that comparison because they're shorter, stockier backs, great contact balance. I think Jeanty has probably like better contact balance. Maurice Jones was a pretty good pass catcher though for a back, so I wouldn't say there's that much separation there. Jeanty maybe has like a little bit better vision, but Maurice Jones-Drew, in terms of speed, Maurice Jones-Drew, he was fast. He was fast.
Yeah, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Clock in at this point, clock out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Man, hey, it's been a great show. Look, we're going to have more to talk about later this week, man, around the Shield. Make sure to check that out. We'll be dropping that this Thursday. Right? We should do a live show. Yeah, live show. We'll keep it going. Live show this Thursday. Hopefully we'll have another guest for you this week, man. So we've been keeping the theme of the offseason going by having a guest every week. So we'll try to bring one on this week. So make sure to tune in for that. Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You guys know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, on IG, on X, on Snapchat, TikTok, basically everywhere. The Severe Raider. Every Tuesday night, the 50-50 show. My guy PharoahNFL, as well as Thursday night. We right back at y'all with Around the Shield. Usually on Tuesday afternoons, I'm going live with my guys 805 and Chris from Protect the Shield. We got a special edition tomorrow night. Wednesday night instead this week, and then we usually do Sunday nights. Sunday nights we be doing mock drafts. I've been dominating the mock drafts. My guy Chris, he took it this past week. I don't know how he took it. Took Armand Mimbu at 6. He took Armand Mimbu at 6. I don't know how he took it, but hey, the people have spoken. The people have spoken. So I must be graceful in defeat. So. I'm looking to come back this week, though. All
right. Well, you have a warm up. We'll be doing a mock draft this Thursday, as usual. So I think we've added around each week. So this week will be about 4 to 5, probably 5 rounds. We'll go to 5 rounds. We'll explore trades. We'll even try to, I'll say this, we'll even try to like if we see a player that's available, let's say right after the first round, or if there's a player that we want to get, we'll explore trade ups, trade downs, all that good stuff. So make sure to tune in and see how we get to where we need to go as far as getting the right players for the team. But yeah, make sure to check that out, man. Around the Shield every week. This Thursday coming up. That's the next time you're going to see us live. And yeah, man, also follow us on social media, man. Around the Shield on X and on IG for the latest and greatest with the Raiders, memes, all that good stuff, man. Make sure to give us a follow there. We about to say something?
No.
Yeah, man. But hey, look, like I said, it's been a great show. We'll be back here soon. Any last thoughts before we head out? Man, we got a Niner fan up in here, man.
Yeah, I was laughing. That's why I was laughing. You thought I was about to say something. I was just laughing at Mince Beach clowning. I was laughing.
Come on, man.
I was trying to hold back that laugh, man.
But hey, man. But shout out to Space Beast with the super chat, man. My God, man. He says, "Great show, fellas, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate everybody coming through, man. We out of here, man. It's been a long show, man. But we got to get up out of here, man. It's getting late. All right, Joe. Peace.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.